We got Steven here, also known as Destiny. How you doing, Steven?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Now, people call this, what do you call it? Being a cuck?
Yeah, that's the
You're
that's
a
the
cuck
one.
advocate.
Yeah.
So
we had some experience in that one now.
it was just a guy, he was like into watching people have sex with his wife. I said, I got a twin brother. Can I bring him along? He said, the more the merrier. Long story short, we had sex with his wife and he watched. I couldn't even get hard because he kept looking at me.
Was this the first time you guys had fucked in front of each other?
Yeah, it was like, it's weird because
It feels like you looking at yourself.
the weird. So you're straight. You're a straight guy?
I'm like bisexual-ish.
Bisexual?
Bisexual-ish. I don't think I'd ever date a guy, but I'll hook up with him.
What the fuck?
That's gay-splaining. Like if my wife came home and I was down sucking a dude's cock, she would say I'm gay.
Would you say you're gay or that's gay?
I'm gay.
You are gay.
What is a woman to you?
What? Fuck, that's a really complicated question.
Man, come on, man.
That's an insanely fucking complicated question.
Yeah?
Okay. Without diving too deep in all this dumbass shit, okay? Listen,
Yeah.
okay? Jesus Christ, okay?
Yeah, episode 14. We got a...
Destiny. She got a black woman's name. and he
got a-
loves to suck cock.
He's known as the top liberal.
Yeah.
But before we get to his gay ass, we gotta pay the bills.
Yeah. Optimal Human.
Yeah.
All-in-one nutritional drink. Tastes good. It's good for brain health, gut health. Got
Yeah.
over 90 ingredients. Made here in America.
Go to optimalhuman.com/Hodgetwins and get 50% off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Episode 15. We got Steven here, also known as Destiny. How you doing, Steven?
Doing good. How you doing?
We're doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
All right, so our goal of this podcast,
Yeah.
we came across you maybe a couple-
Dating Nick Fuentes. You did some
Yeah.
Fresh and Fit. The main reason why we want you here is because majority of people that came on our podcast has been conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put myself in, I'm just having conservatives come on. I want to actually hear
Yeah.
other people's perspectives.
Sure.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
don't want
so-
to put myself in isolate myself like that.
Yeah, so we want to get your worldview, so we're going to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
What should we start with first? Relationships.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Relationships. Now, how many times have you been married?
Twice?
Twice?
Me too.
All right, good job.
Yeah.
Are you on your second one now? Or are you looking for your third?
No. This one's working.
Yeah. That's
The
good.
first one, I think I was just too young.
Okay.
I got married. I was 19. I was in the Marine Corps. And she got pregnant, and I was just trying to do the right thing. So,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So.
My first one was, I'm not like a big marriage guy. The first one was because of, it's a long story, but no, it's not that long. But if you know what the FAFSA is for financial aid for college and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you go to fill out the college student aid application and you're like, oh, are you an independent? Of course I am. Because you're thinking like your taxes, but the way that the college looks at you to be an independent or not, there's a whole other list of qualifications. So I've been away from my parents for 2 years, and then I realized that their gross income is going to determine my financial aid, even
Right.
though I don't get any support from them. So
Oh, yeah.
you either join the military, have a kid, kill your parents, get married, and of all the options. So me and my girlfriend in high school, we got married for financial aid. It worked for financial aid, and yeah.
Right.
And then my most recent wife, we got she was Swedish and I was American, so obviously I want to live with my fucking girlfriend. So the only way for her to live in the U.S. is to get a green card to get married. So
Yeah. My wife is an immigrant from Mexico City.
okay,
Yeah. She, when Trump became president, she started freaking out. She thought she was going to get deported.
yeah,
So
My wife, too. My wife's from
Yeah.
Jalisco.
But the thing is, a lot of people don't understand, like politics and the TV, they scare a lot of immigrants, a lot of people of color. So she was actually a legal resident of being in the country, but she went to CNN, I'm not sure where, MSNBC, but she actually thought that Trump was going to come to our door and deport her. So
Yeah.
she
I've
became a
heard. Yeah,
citizen.
people have like you said she was a lawful person, so she had the green card.
Mhm.
Yeah. People say shit like that. It's like if we're deporting the green card people, they
Mhm.
would have had to have gotten through that's like 20, 30, 40 million people.
Yeah.
How many millions of people are they going to start deporting in the United
Yeah.
States? Like, there's no way that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people get in relationships for a lot of different reasons. But your relationships have kind of been, what's the word I'm looking for?
Extraordinary?
No, unconventional.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, people call this, what do you call it? Being a cuck?
Yeah. That's the
You're
that's
a
the
cuck
one.
advocate.
Yeah.
It's like what Adam 22 is kind of doing, right?
Yeah.
had
For
a
a while,
pulse.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so I wanted to ask you this.
Mhm.
We have a little experience in this. Not actually. Well, we'll get to that.
Cuckoldry or?
I'll get to that.
Okay. Jesus. Okay.
So what is it about? Do you like?
It's a tough question. Huh? Yeah, explain to us.
No, shut up. Put my ass the question. So what about? So you like watching other men have sex with your girl or your wife?
No, not really. No.
No. Explain to us. Explain to us.
So before the red pill shit, these are just called open relationships. But then after like the red pill stuff, people became obsessed. I call it cuck hunting, where people will like look for cuckoldry like fucking everywhere. Like if your girlfriend like fucked a guy, like 5 months before you started dating her, people call you like a cuck. It's like an insane obsession.
Oh, okay.
But the I mean, like I'd say I have a decently high sex drive. I like to fuck around. Obviously, I've got a lot of access being a YouTuber guy. And if I date somebody,
a lot of access,
yeah.
People sliding in your DMs.
Something, yeah, of course, you guys, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
But the so like if I want to sleep around, I imagine if I'm going to date somebody, they're probably going to be sleeping around too, and yeah, because I don't think I could ever do. I know that in some of the communities, people advocate for these like one-sided, open-ended relationships, which just seems. I don't believe any of those actually work. I don't think they're even real. I think the girls are always fucking around. The guys are just naive.
Right.
So
I thought I was looking at it from the wrong perspective. I had a wrong impression. I thought you like watched your.
No, yeah, well, because that's a meme. Because if you're like nowadays, there's no such thing as like an open or poly, whatever the fuck. People just all like call it all cuckoldry. So it's like,
right,
whatever,
right,
but,
yeah. Yeah, we had some experience in that when I was in Marine Corps.
No, this guy like.
What's that? Well, I got to hear now. What's the experience?
I'll tell you. So. I was a horny bastard when I was like 20, right? So I lived in Orange County, California.
Okay.
And it was the Orange County Register was the paper, and it had an adult classified section in the paper.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
There's no cell phones back then.
But it's no cell phones or anything like that, so keep that in mind. It's like all we had was pagers, right?
Yeah.
So I created an online account. Well, it's not even online. The internet wasn't even big yet. You would call this phone number, set up an account. I forgot how you pay for it. You would pay it over the phone or whatever, and they give you minutes. So you would go on this thing, right? So, my name's Keith Hodge. I'm 6'2", black male. I'm in shape. I got green eyes and shit. You put your profile out, and then people hear your profile, and then they respond if they're interested. 3-4 days went by. I wasn't getting no love. I was like, man, this is some bullshit.
Yeah, racist, huh?
Yeah, racist people. They're not Negroes. But anyway, finally, I get a message. I'm like, I got one message. So I push the pound to hear the message. It's a guy. I'm like, oh fuck, a homosexual, right? But it wasn't even that.
Yeah.
It was just a guy. He was like watching people have sex with his wife.
Yeah.
And I was like,
looking for that big black bull. Yeah, that BBC. That's what he's looking for. Yeah,
Right?
It runs along those communities a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, you know what? This sounds kind of interesting. I said, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Man, this dude might not have to be Jeffrey Dahmer or some shit. So I said, I got a twin brother. Can I bring him along? He said, the more the merrier.
So Big keeps going.
Shut up. I'm telling the story. So I pick up Kevin. We get there. This is a white couple. They're in like the 50s. And big house. He's a lawyer.
Very fluent, man.
Yeah. And she's his secretary, and they work together. And we're talking. And I see a picture of 2 twin kids. I'm like, oh, you have twins. I was like, where are they? Oh, they're at grandma's house tonight. You ain't got to worry about them. But long story short, we had sex with his wife, and he watched.
Yeah.
It was crazy because I couldn't even get hard because he kept looking at me.
Was this the first time you guys had fucked in front of each other?
Yeah, it was like, it's weird because you're looking at you're looking at
It feels
yourself.
like you're looking at yourself. The weird.
And the guy's freaking me out. He's walking around stroking it. Right?
And this dude, he's about this tall.
Yeah.
Short, fat, bald, white guy. And his mushroom tip is as wide as this.
No, it wasn't that big. It was like that bottle right there.
Well,
it was like this.
That's still pretty wide.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Who you gonna fuck with that?
And he had Frankenstein stitches on the side of it. Like he had some kind of surgery. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And when I went up,
He was cock gazing, huh?
Well, you couldn't help because I was doing it. Then he just busted in the room. This fat potbelly Ron Jeremy looking dude.
You know, he's supposed to be watching you, right? Not the other way around. For
but he wasn't. He was
we was freaking out because he's watching us. Watch.
One girl, 3 guys in a room. The girl's getting the least attention, huh? You guys are all.
Jesus.
She's just along for the ride. Yeah. Okay.
He was freaking me out. He had a Frankencock. It's the biggest cock I ever saw in my life. I thought I was hard. This dude had a horse cock.
I
But
don't
anyway,
think
I thought
he probably had
that's-
some enhancements though.
yeah. But
The stitches are for augmented.
yeah. But that's what I was thinking because I had seen online people saying you're a cuck, but you're not a cuck. You
Just open relationship.
Yeah.
yeah. So, do you think that's what hurt your marriages? Or do you think they were really love marriages? You just did it for like.
I love the
reasons?
people, but I'm not like a marriage guy. I'll do it if I need to. Like if I date somebody and they're from like another country, it's like, well, we have to get married, otherwise we can't live together.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna do a fucking long distance relationship. But like,
Right.
if there were two people, I think the only time I'd ever like get married, like if I needed to, would
Mhm.
probably be like if there was a kid involved, just because of the financial stuff and the paperwork and the
Mhm.
because it's weird otherwise. Because there's like you're gonna live with a woman and pay child support to her while you're like taking your kid to school and custody. It'd be weird, yeah. So,
Mhm.
but otherwise, yeah, I'm not like a big.
Yeah, you don't
Marriage.
like traditional marriage because you think that that social contract is more in favor of the female or the.
Fuck no.
No?
Jesus Christ, no, absolutely not. I just sorry, I fought against a lot of people who say that. No, it's not even about that. I just my life is just so unconventional. I'm
Mhm.
sure even for you guys, right? Like just the crazy online shit, the
Mhm.
putting out
Mhm.
content, people saying things about you, people, I don't know, they go after like family members or whatever if you start
Yeah, they
fighting
go
with
after
people.
my daughter and stuff.
Yeah, it's wild. So whatever relationships I'm in, they're probably gonna look like pretty unconventional because my whole life is like very unconventional.
Oh.
I work like 14 hours a day, travel around the world or the United States. Yeah, everything's just really weird. So, yeah.
Okay, so you're straight. You're a straight
I'm like bisexual-ish.
guy. Bisexual.
Bisexual-ish. I don't think I'd ever date a guy, but I'll hook up with him.
What the fuck?
I don't want to date a dude. It's
Yeah?
fucking gay.
What's
fuck?
What?
Think I'm gonna fucking cuddle with a homie after sucking his dick? How fucking nasty would that be? Holy shit.
Well, when I think of bisexual, I think of gay.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
It's
Like, what's
then I'm either lying
that's
about the
like-
gay side or I'm lying about the straight
Yeah.
side. So I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out one day.
so you don't consider yourself gay? You're bisexual.
Yeah, like gay light.
That's gay splaining.
Yeah, because look, straight people have sex with straight people, right?
Yeah.
And then
Hopefully.
you have gay people. They'll fuck anything.
What you do?
That's why I say when I look at
Oh,
bisexual.
so it's like gay, like bisexual. Your version of bisexual, or
Yeah, when I think of bisexual, I just think of gay because gay people have sex with both. It's just gay.
they fuck anything.
Yeah.
what
they-
it?
Like if
What
like,
does the homo and homosexual mean? Doesn't that just mean one? Like you just fuck one thing?
I don't know. Well, homosexual.
Listen, if that's what gay is to you, then I'm gay. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yes,
if I
yes,
came
okay.
home,
Okay.
like if my wife came home and I was down sucking a dude's cock, she would say I'm gay.
Yeah.
Even though
Would you say you're gay or that's gay?
I'm gay.
You are gay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think how most people look
I
at it.
came across a couple online.
Uh-huh.
This dude is dating a trans woman, and he said he sucks her off. She has a
Okay.
cute little penis that looks like a clitoris.
Okay.
He
So the
doesn't-
opposite of the Frankencock. Okay.
Yeah, but he doesn't consider himself gay.
Okay.
I was like, that's gay.
Why are you gay?
Do you see it differently or?
I mean, I guess you could. I don't know. I don't think about the. I guess I'm more interested in the underlying content than the label for it. I don't really care as much. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't pay too much of what straight gay. You don't really care.
No, I don't really think too much about it now.
Yeah. So you ever think about marrying a guy since the women ain't working out?
It's a good idea, actually.
Yeah?
It would be easier, I think, because guys are just better in every way. That's why the red pill guys say don't live with your girlfriend, don't live with your wife. Just fucking move in with your bros who enable you to be better and stronger. And yeah.
So
Dude, just,
you slept with a guy before?
hooked up with a guy before, yeah.
Hooked up? What do you mean, like just sucking cock? Or-
Basically, yeah.
Oh
Sucking-
yeah.
Yeah, slobbing on some. Yeah. We didn't have to break out the Vaseline you guys had earlier. So nothing like that, thankfully.
No, hey. Destiny's talking about this. Before the show started, I had this Vaseline right here because I can't find my chapstick. Okay. Yeah. What was I gonna go to?
Yeah, this whole cock sucking just. I didn't know you were
When did you
bisexual.
when did you determine? When did you first realize you was attracted to men?
I don't know. I think it was like late 20s. I was like, oh, why not try it? Fuck it.
Really,
Sure, why not? You only live one life, you know?
dude? You very open minded.
Whatever, dude. I'll try
Fuck
anything
it.
once.
Wake up! I'm gonna suck a cock today. I've like, I don't know. I've
Like
never.
I knew I was attracted to girls like
Yeah.
like very early age. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty normal. I felt the same, yeah.
Yeah.
You were the same way.
Yeah.
And Yeah. Everybody, it's the last week to enter to win our Jeep Rubicon and $10,000 in cold, hard, white American cash. And right now, if you enter today, this whole week, anything you buy on the site gets you 10 times the interest.
Not only that, you also enter to win our Ram Power Wagon.
Yeah.
Plus a Pioneer camper and another $10,000 in cold, hard, white American cash. That's 2 vehicles and a camper.
And $20,000 in cash. Go to officialhodgetwins.com to get entered today.
Yeah.
No purchase necessary. Porn where prohibited. See official rules for details. Yeah. And then, what do you think caused the bisexual stuff to come on?
Yeah.
Do you think it's like bad experiences with women, or
No, I think it's
Porn
just
or
trying it. Just curious.
do you watch porn?
I do indeed watch porn. Yeah.
You think that may have led to it? Because porn, man, that'll take you down some damn dark rabbit holes.
we speak from experience.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know. I've heard people talk about that, but I've never had that. Like, if you were to go through, like, when I go to jerk off to porn, I'm looking at like blowjobs or people fucking. I've never gone down like the crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh, give
I
it time.
Give it time. I mean, I'm 35. I feel like if it was gonna happen, it would have happened by this point.
No, it's going to hit you when you least expect it.
Okay. Yeah.
I went down some.
Because see,
darker.
porn, that shit puts a tumor in your brain, and then it metastasizes and goes to your dick. And it fucking like, man, I remember I came across the scene of a chick doing a dog. I was like, oh, this is hot. Then I was like, wait a minute. What the fuck is going on?
Was this before or after you finished?
I stop myself.
I feel like you could say the same for like any hobby. Like, I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
you can jerk off to porn responsibly.
Yeah.
Or you can go crazy with it, but I think that's true of like anything, right? Like,
Yeah.
like you look at a video game, you can play a video game for an hour or
Right.
whatever, or you've got people who lose their entire fucking lives to games, like sitting up all day.
Yeah.
You can smoke some weed every now and then to relax or
Yeah.
hang out with friends, or you can be a guy that has to smoke every single fucking day because of anxiety or just sleep or whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Hobbies are good servants but bad masters, and too many people let their hobbies run their lives or whatever they get obsessed with. So.
Mhm.
That's true. You got to take accountability and take, be responsible for your own actions.
Yeah,
Too
but
much porn can.
Yeah. You know what saved me?
What?
Christ.
Yeah.
He put his hands on me. I looked up, then I saw his blonde hair, blue eyes looking at me. He said, "Thou shalt not stroke of thy dick of any more." I was free.
Jesus.
Blue-eyed Jesus.
Yeah, his blonde blue eyes.
Moses left that commandment up on the mountain. That was the 11th one. Just- God wasn't done inscribing yet.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, porn, I had to give that up.
Yeah.
I think if you could do without it, it's probably good. But I think that's almost true of any kind of like vice-ish thing.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't play any games, it'd probably be better for you. If you didn't do any drugs, it'd probably be better for you. If you never drank alcohol, it'd be better for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, balance it out.
Well, it all depends on the person, really.
Mhm.
Some people, alcohol could be done recreational, and some people, it just turns into an addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all depends on the person, really.
I think the thing that frustrates me the most about talks about like bad vices, like porn or drugs, is people never talk about like how to use them responsibly. People take
Yeah.
a zero-sum approach.
Yeah.
So if you walk around, it's like,
Yeah.
do you guys remember Dare?
Mm.
Dare, it was like the anti-drug shit. How old are you guys?
Oh, yeah, there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm old. I remember that.
Okay, yeah. It was a big, yeah. I grew up until I was like 25. I thought if I smoked marijuana, my fucking dick would fall off. I like the,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
you just
that's
hear the
true.
dumbest shit. Yeah, I wish people just, rather than focusing on like, don't ever do this and don't ever do that, be like,
Mhm.
this is what you should be aware of. And if this is happening, you
Mhm.
probably need to slow down or you
Right.
need to stop. Like, yeah,
Right.
being aware of like signs that something is unhealthy rather than just like thinking some things are always good and some things are always bad, I think would be better. For
True.
people.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
People act like if you don't masturbate to porn for like 2 months, you could fucking levitate or something. It's kind of,
Yeah.
Especially the Christian conservatives.
yeah, sometimes,
That's a
yeah.
sin.
Yeah.
You know, God's watching you when you bust your nuts.
And you know they're busted to the craziest shit too, because those guys are always looking at the wildest fucking shit, man.
The
My
conservatives.
God. Oh yeah, they always are. You go to like the Mormon fucking states, you look at that's like the highest incidence of gay
Mhm.
porn and shit. I don't know why, but
Hey,
Oh,
do
gay
you
porn?
remember you know who Turning Point USA is, right?
yeah, Charlie Kirk, right?
Yeah, Charlie Kirk. They had a porn star actually attend one of their events.
Well, she went there.
Yeah.
She wasn't invited, but she decided
yeah,
to pay the
yeah,
money
bought
and
tickets.
fly in. They found out who she was, and they kicked her out.
I'm like, how did they find out who she was?
Every motherfucker is looking at. Wait a second.
Yeah, and they kicked her out.
I didn't like
That's
that.
the one thing. I don't believe in censorship, and us being conservatives, we don't like censorship, right? And then they do the exact same thing. Same
Well-
thing that goes for Candace.
Well, it's kind of thing with the donors. They got donors
Yeah,
in those pictures. Money is the root of all evil. So
yeah.
that's what.
But they call out the left when they do it, but they don't call it when they do it.
I think that like the problem is that I think people sometimes take hard stances on stuff, and the stance is not. They think they've got like a really hard stance on a thing, but in reality, there's just some factual thing they disagree with. So like nobody is a free speech absolutist, because as soon as you say like, oh, well, should you be able to post child porn? Like it's like, okay, well, no, not that.
Right.
Oh, okay. Should you be able to like post somebody's address and tell people to go kill him? Oh, okay, maybe not that. It's like, okay. So we're not like ultra free speech absolutists. There's some boundaries we have to draw. We just need to decide where to draw the boundaries. Same thing with like as controversial as they are, like vaccine mandates, right? Like I don't think anybody's actually opposed to vaccine mandates. If there was a disease that came out that lay dormant in your body and then caused you to die instantly in 2 weeks, and that had like a 80% mortality rate and infected everybody, I think everybody would be like, okay, you got to get fucking
They'll be killing
vaccinated.
each other to get the vaccine.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
But if you've got a disease that like doesn't really affect people that much, it's a cold, and you're like, well, if you don't get this vaccine, you're gonna get fucking fired. It's like, fuck you, I don't want to do this, yeah. But people will act like on both sides, like I'm pro-vaccine mandate or anti-vaccine mandate. It's like, well, not really. You just disagree about this particular one or the facts about this thing. Yeah.
That's what it really boiled down to, because I'm not anti-vaccine, but I was opposed to that vaccine.
Sure.
It just came out too fast. It's like, no, you got to test it. Normally, when a vaccine comes out, they test it for
It's
at least a decade.
It's got to keep you from getting sick. It's got to keep you from spreading it.
Yeah, it's got to give
what
you
was your-
immunity.
Yeah, that's what I would think. What was your take on that COVID vaccine?
I think that when people are looking at things like medicine, okay, here's something that's really important to understand about medicine. If you have a medication and then you've got like not anything happening, okay, it is always better to never take the medicine. All medicine is bad for you.
Everything has a side effect.
Yes. But the problem is people will compare taking the medicine to nothing happening, but you don't take medicine or nothing happens. You're trying to compare the medicine to the disease of whatever it is you're going to get. So people will look at like a vaccine or a particular, pill or whatever, and they'll say, well, if you have this, it's this side effect and that side effect and that side effect. It's like, okay, well, we're not comparing that to not taking it at all. Let's compare it to if you get the thing it's supposed to prevent. Well, what does that do, right? I think that the challenging part for COVID, and a lot of people don't remember this, is nobody really knew what was going to happen at the time.
Yeah,
right?
it first came.
Yeah, nobody, is this going to be like a 2% mortality thing or 10% mortality thing? Like nobody had an idea, and it was super infectious. This thing spread faster than fucking like anything in the world in terms of like number of people that were impacted. Because it's a respiratory disease. It's not like you get it and your eyes are bleeding and everybody stays away from you. Like nobody's getting fucking mass Ebola, okay, in the Western world, because the motherfucker's walking looking like the Walking Dead, okay? Just get this guy the fuck away from me, okay?
You can see him coming.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas if some guy comes up to you and he's got like a sniffle in his nose, this guy might be infecting 30 people. You have no fucking idea. Yeah. So I think that, yeah, I mean, at the time, I could definitely understand the fear. You're trying to stay ahead of the unknown because you don't know exactly how things are going to play out. So in that sense, like, I mean, it's hard to know what side to fall on. Like for this particular virus, even though a lot of people died and there was a lot of congestion in the healthcare system, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But like, there's another world where, where we took the same path and it ended up being something that had like a 25 or 30% mortality rate. We're like, well, fuck, we just like bled off like 50 to 100 million people in this country, and then the worldwide stuff. So yeah, it's hard. Yeah, when you evaluate things, you have to be able to go back and then do it prospectively. Like, well, what did we know at the time? Rather than look back, it's like, okay, well, this is what we know now, and this is what we should have done with what we know now. And it's like, well, nothing, unfortunately, works that way in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just with that vaccine when it first came out, it's like, yeah, it keeps you from getting sick and it keeps you from spreading it. And then I think it first started in Israel. They were the first to like fully vaccinate their population.
Yeah.
And then they were still getting sick. And I was like, wait a minute. Then they changed they moved the goalposts as well. You can still get sick and you can still transmit it, but you're less likely to die from it. I'm like, what am I supposed to believe?
Yeah.
Like they moved the goalposts at the end. And it's like, I don't think that vaccine personally, anecdotally, I don't think it was very effective.
I mean, playing Monday morning quarterback, I think we should have just took care of the elderly, people with comorbidities. But I don't think they should have been forced on anyone. I think it was up to the person's choice. I mean, we give women a right to choose when it comes to pregnancy. Why don't we give them a right to choose when it comes to a vaccine?
Well, for the right to choose for the pregnancy is because she can't make me pregnant. A woman was walking around saying some shit, and all of a sudden people around her were getting pregnant, then we'd probably have a lot more of a different feeling about it, right? But a pregnancy is like your body, your thing.
Yeah, but that vaccine did not keep you from infecting other people.
Yeah.
So I think
it had the same efficacy of a flu shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, flu shots help. It's not perfect, but I mean, it helps. The initial vaccines were really effective for the first and then the Delta, but then after that, they started to fall off pretty significantly because of how mutated the virus was getting. I think the goal of the vaccine initially, and if you go back and you read all the actual medical literature, it said this, but the public health messaging was messed up. The goal was twofold. One was to prevent you from getting sick, and then the other was hopefully that was the goal. The goal was to prevent you from getting sick. Now, a byproduct of not getting sick is that you hopefully don't spread as much, because you're not getting you're not contracting the virus, and then that's like a side effect that you're looking for. a lot of things a lot of it comes down to just information about diseases that people aren't aware of. So you can have like a virus. Just because you get infected doesn't mean you necessarily get sick. Like a virus and a disease are technically, in the literature, they're two different things, like HIV and AIDS, right?
Mhm.
Right.
You can have HIV now your whole life and
Mhm.
never develop AIDS because of the medical treatment and everything.
Mhm.
For COVID, you've got the virus, SARS-CoV-2, right? You can get the virus, but if you've had like a prior infection or if you've got a vaccine, ideally you get the virus and it kind of like, fucks around a little bit, but then it dies before you actually get the disease and you get sick.
Mhm.
Then if you're not sick, you're not coughing, and you're not spreading as much. But the spreading of the disease is not something that is usually tested for in
Mhm.
vaccines. Like even for like polio and all these other vaccines, when you get them, you can still get the virus, but like your immune system will kill it before you actually like develop the full-blown sickness.
I understand your point of view.
Mhm.
I think it's I think when it came to
They got
media,
politicized.
it got politicized, and then you have journalists that's a majority of a lot of, I wouldn't say the majority, a lot of the money they were receiving, from ads and things of that nature.
Got a
Mhm.
conflict of
It's a
interest.
huge conflict of interest because these people who developed this vaccine made a lot of billionaires. But I
Yeah.
can't go back to the empirical research where it actually saved people's lives.
Sure. This is the thing that I wish it would happen. It's so hard. Is that sometimes people will fuck up or say something dumb,
Mhm.
but then instead of like critically evaluating what's going on, people will just like jump to the other opinion,
Mhm.
and then they don't do as much critical evaluation there, right?
Mhm.
Like, let's say I wanted to sell you like TRT, and I come up here and I tell you that creatine causes baldness, right?
Mhm.
Which is a common claim of people, right? I imagine you're probably going to look at me like, okay, well, yeah, you're selling this. Of course, you want me to think this about
Mhm.
the most studied fucking supplement of all time, and you're going to tell me that it causes baldness or whatever. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I feel like people will look at the vaccine and they'll go, okay, well, like there are just so many things that bother me. People say I don't trust the vaccine; it was pushed through too quickly, whatever. But monoclonal antibodies, people loved those. That was an experimental treatment. It never got fully approved. It was way more expensive, but because that was like the more popular treatment, people would shun the vaccines. Which I think now, in retrospect, I don't know how much you want to go over it, but like
Mhm.
they're pretty safe. Like there wasn't the mass death event that everybody thought there was. Like in all the communities where people got vaccinated, they were less likely to go visit the hospital. Like you see more deaths in like communities that weren't vaccinated. And you look at the monoclonal antibodies, and those completely fell out. They just weren't that effective. So
So you think
Yeah.
it was the vaccine was a good thing?
yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
And I think the saddest thing too is that, especially, and I feel so fucking crazy because I'm always like the progressive, like far left guy.
Mhm.
I am a big capitalist, and I appreciate like businesses and everything there. I feel
Mhm.
like the sad thing for conservatives is I think the vaccine, in my opinion, like represented like conservatism like almost at its best, because you had Donald Trump, who was a conservative leader, who like did the whole warp speed thing to try to like pre-buy and incentivize these companies. You had our large businesses that were working internationally with like BioNTech in Germany, the manufacturing of the NLPs and I think in Denmark or whatever. Like, so it's capitalism. It's the United States like being a global power. It's the president like trying to incentivize something and push it through. It's like all this research from around the world creating like a vaccine in like record time. I feel like there's a lot of good accomplishments there that as Americans we
Mhm.
could have been proud of, but it's
Trump,
like so.
Trump loves the vaccine.
Yeah, of course. Well, he wants to take credit for it because he
Right.
war speeded. Yeah, but I feel like because we're so like politically divided, we can't like every single fucking issue that comes out today is
Yeah.
fucking political. Like if you go to the gym, it's because you're fucking MAGA conservative. Like that's like a conservative thing now. Or like if a boat fucking crashes into a bridge, it's because some Mossad fucking agent did it to distract from fucking Israel.
Right,
Or if
right.
there's a fucking fire in Hawaii in the
right.
fucking hottest place in the fuck. It's because like Jewish space lasers are trying to drive up property costs for
Hawaii.
Oprah Winfrey or whatever. Or,
Yeah.
it's like Jesus. Yeah. Like nothing can happen anymore without it being some crazy
Right.
fucking conspiracy.
Yeah, personally, I've had like people close to me that was like damaged by that vaccine. Like
Yeah.
my friend's legs turned purple. They look like sweet potatoes. He can't walk.
Yeah.
And then I knew when I bought this car, right when the vaccine came out, the finance guy, I was doing my paperwork, and he was telling me, he was like warning me, like, don't take that vaccine. I was like, why? It's supposed to be great. He's like, well, my daughter took that vaccine, and the only reason why she took the vaccine, she wanted to go to Europe for a vacation. COVID messed up everything, so she went in and had to take the vaccine so she could go. 2 weeks after she took the vaccine, she got a blood clot in her lungs, and she died.
Yeah. And the biggest red flag for me
She was
about that,
22 years old.
yeah, about that vaccine was it was forcing on people who had already contracted the virus,
Yeah.
survived it, and they still was making people
And
sick.
they were forcing on people who were in great health. We all know, I think, what was it, 70-80% of the people who died was people over 65, and they had something
Yeah.
wrong with them. They already had one foot in the grave.
Well,
I don't-
careful, because when you say something wrong with them, like obesity is a comorbidity of,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
which is already like
Yeah, that's what
70%
I'm
of
saying.
Americans. Yeah.
Like 70% of people, I
Mhm.
think it was even higher, maybe even 80%. 80% of the people died from it. It might even been 90% that when they died from COVID, it was they was over 65
Mhm.
or they had one foot in the grave. They
Yeah.
were obese. they had heart problems or something, but it was forced on
Diabetes.
healthy people. And I was like, one of my friends, that girl that died at 22. That's why I think that vaccine was garbage.
Do you know anybody that died of COVID?
Yeah, my family members on my wife's side died.
How many?
3.
Jesus.
Yep, 3.
Well, so when you think of like, we've got vaccine injury, did you know anybody that died of or had a vaccine injury?
I know of 2 people. I didn't know them personally.
Okay.
Well, Mike.
Yeah. I can't count him. You already counted him.
Oh, okay.
But 2 other people,
Yeah. So that's interesting that doesn't factor in sometimes. Like somebody's like, oh yeah, like I knew this guy or I knew a guy who had a vaccine injury. Like, oh, do you know anybody who died of COVID? And like, yeah, I've got like 3 family members that are like,
Yeah, I know 3 people that died.
Yeah, but they were like, the 2 that I know in my family that died, they were big people. They were obese. They were not healthy people.
sure. But I mean, like, they still died.
I
right?
kind
They
of
still-
weigh
They
it
got
like this.
vaccinated and everything, and he still died.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I look at like the vaccine interest. My friend, he's very young. That person who was at the dealership, she was a healthy young woman. She was forced to take a vaccination, or she couldn't travel. I have a problem with that personally.
Like I think it was a big cover up. Like I remember when COVID first hit, they was cracking the deaths by the hour. I mean, up to date, all across America. You know how many people died in America. Why didn't they track the deaths of the people who's getting vaccinated, who still died from COVID, who took the vaccine? They didn't track that. I remember when Australia first started doing the vaccine with their citizens, they were coming out saying, well, we had 8 people die today, 6 of them are vaccinated. They did that for a couple of days and then they stopped.
Yeah,
What do you think? If it was a cover up, like what? How? Why?
Money.
Like I'm trying to think. Like
Money.
let's say,
Money.
yeah, but like, doesn't it hurt the economy and everything more to have like lockdowns and vaccines and everything than just?
I think that was a wrong decision. You can't hide from a virus.
Or I'm
Eventually-
saying let's we're talking like all the.
Yeah.
So here's something
Yeah.
that's always interesting me. People say things like Lockheed Martin or Boeing, like
Mhm.
the military-industrial complex, they like run the country. Okay, if you only look these companies up, these companies are worth anywhere from like $10 to $100 billion. Okay, decent-sized companies. But then I'm thinking like, well, if we're like running the economy, why would the military-industrial complex do things that puts the entire economy like on pause that hurts everybody? So like wars or conflict or whatever. Why wouldn't it be the people that own like fucking Apple and Facebook? Because these companies are worth like Apple alone is worth like every fucking private
Yeah.
military
The
contractor
reason-
combined. Like, wouldn't they be the ones in
the-
control of the economy? Wouldn't it be more like the US is like, I want to go to war with that, and like Lockheed and Boeing and Raytheon, these guys are like, yeah, let's go. And then like Apple is like, we're not doing that. Actually,
Yeah.
fuck you, or I'll hire an actual
Yeah.
Haitian death squad to kill you if you.
Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's a
think-
different dynamic.
Okay.
I think the reason why that information was not allowed to come out, who's going to put that information out there?
Donald Trump.
It's going to be the media. The media is being paid hundreds of millions of dollars to push this vaccine.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
If they're going to come out and criticize the vaccine, they're hurting their advertisers. There's no way Fox News, CNN, left or right, going to come out and criticize that vaccine because you're biting the hand that feeds you.
Yeah.
Even if I post stuff on Instagram or YouTube, I was getting censored. I was getting community guidelines strike on YouTube. You were not allowed to criticize that vaccine.
I think
That's why I think it's a cover-up.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe in capitalism too, but I don't
Mhm.
consider that capitalism. I consider that crony capitalism.
Do you think why wouldn't it be that like other countries would call us out? Like why wouldn't Russia or China be like, we think that vaccine was a giant cover up? Like why wouldn't they say something if it was? Wouldn't it be in their interest to kind of expose us on it?
I would, but we're not on the best of terms. Like we can't even agree on that very same logic that you're using
Mhm.
amongst ourselves here in the United States.
Sure. Well, I'm not
That's
saying.
how
I mean,
difficult it would be between us and Russia or other countries.
yeah, I don't mean on good terms. I mean like
Yeah.
as a way to attack us. Like
Mhm.
why wouldn't Putin be like, the United States is clearly corrupt and we can see that because look at the vaccine that they gave their people.
I can only really speak to what our own media. Our
Mhm.
media is here to keep the public apprised of what's going on. I did not see one story, whether it was left wing or right wing, criticize that vaccine.
Yeah.
Nobody spoke out, and it's because that's their biggest advertiser. They were advertising so much, enriching these networks so much, it created 9 billionaires on the back end on the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how much Fox News, CNN was getting paid.
Yeah.
And then again, like I said, even if I spoke out,
Yeah.
censored. What's that doctor that went on Joe Rogan? Censored.
Yeah.
He was
Robert
a doctor.
Malone?
Yeah,
Mhm.
censored.
I mean,
You
look
were
at,
not allowed to criticize that vaccine.
look at CNN and look at Fox. We know they have an agenda. They lie to us all the time. We know we probably get maybe an ounce of the truth. They spin everything to fit their narrative. They never like our politicians and our media. They don't even serve us anymore. They serve their own interests.
Do you think it's possible there's maybe people are trying to do their best, but they fuck up sometimes? Or
Definitely.
I think that
But
I guess the interesting thing for me is just like as a finance guy sometimes, like I just look at the numbers and I just don't feel like in the pharmaceutical world there's just not enough money to control all the media. It's just not. There's just like compared to like the tech world, there's so much more money there. And then like when I look at all the vaccines that came out and the mRNA ones, and I'm thinking like, okay, well let's say these mRNA vaccines came out and there really is a big cover up. Like why wouldn't like Johnson & Johnson come out and say like, hey, fuck you? Because other companies try to create mRNA vaccines and they failed. Why wouldn't these other capitalist countries or companies in the U.S. be like, hey, those vaccines don't work. That's bullshit. Or like an enemy of the U.S. like Iran or Russia or China be like,
If
yeah,
that's true,
yeah.
if that's true, it just shows how corrupt America is.
it shows how corrupt pharmaceutical companies are.
They're so corrupt that they're willing to lose money being non-competitive. In the
Right.
vaccine market.
I think they lose
addicted.
money. I think they lose money if the truth comes out. That's why
Yeah.
I don't think the truth comes out.
Yeah. I mean, look how I watched this documentary. It was about how the pharmaceutical company got everybody addicted and doped up on
Fentanyl.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, these pharmaceutical companies, some of the worst evil amongst us, and nobody's willing to call them out for it.
I feel like people call them out. I just feel like I feel like what happens is that the problems are just a bit more complicated than
Yeah.
it seems.
Yeah.
Like even for like drug addictions on like fentanyl or stuff like that. Like if you go to the hospital, like a lot of drug addiction happens because you go to the hospital for a pain problem and then you come out of the hospital and now you end up getting addicted to whatever substance they gave you. But
Yeah.
like looking at, I've got doctor friends or whatever, like listening to them talk, you get a patient that will come in and the patient will say, hey, I've got, hypertension. I look at my blood pressure, like, now, people will look at doctors and they'll go, you guys are just here to push pills. You're just going to try to give the guy a pill, send him on his way. Like, fuck you. It's not healthy, blah, blah, blah. But from the doctor's perspective, like, I mean, you guys definitely know this better than the average person. You tell a person, oh, well, you need to eat healthy and exercise. What's the uptake on that? Less than 1%? You get
Just give me a pill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So as a doctor, like you're there to treat whatever the illness is. And oftentimes as a doctor, your only weapon is medication. Now, if you've ever been to a doctor office before, they always tell you on the way out, they'll always say, oh yeah, make sure that you continue to eat healthy and exercise, but nobody actually fucking does it.
Right.
And then, so now you're a physician and now you're in this fucked spot where it's like, okay, well, this guy came in, he's hypertensive. I can't send him out of the office without prescribing something because now if he has a heart attack, he's going to come back and sue me for not doing anything. So then you give him a pill and then this guy goes off and then, he gets fatter and fatter. His family complains and then he dies. And now his kids are online saying like, my dad had all these issues with obesity and all the doctor did was give him a fucking pill and then send him his way and wait until he fucking died. And that's bullshit. And I was like, well, what the fuck are you supposed to do as a doctor? Like, fuck me,
Yeah, I get that.
I think there are bad actors. I'm sure there definitely are. Like there have been drugs that have been okayed. I always fucking forget it. There was one that was okayed in Europe that didn't get okayed in the US. Was it formaldehyde? Where like babies were being born like fucked up or whatever. So like bad shit happens. And a company, if you've worked for any corporate company, they will try to fuck you if they can do it.
Alex Jones called out the gay frogs.
Sure, he did, yeah.
Nobody believed him.
Those frogs were turning, they were fucking gay. Now, I don't know if it was gay, like bisexual gay or gay, like gay. I don't know. But, yeah.
Hey, I'm going to switch gears.
Yeah.
Sure.
It is finally here. Yep. Look at that beautiful package. Looks black man proof. Here it is right here. Yeah. It's professional. Look at the short to him. Damn, but you are a fucking idiot. That's enough, Kevin. I said it's enough. Oh man, that is tasty. Yeah? Yeah. Can I have some? Hold on. I feel like a new man. 90 plus ingredients. Good health. Brain health. It's got lion's mane. That's Wanda. It's kind of got like a green tea flavor. It's a great drink, man. If you try to live a healthy life, Optimal Human, man. Optimal Human. Yeah. Optimal Human. OptimalHuman.com/Hodgetwins. You get 50% off.
Okay.
Trans rights.
Oh. Okay.
What does that mean? Yeah. Trans rights. Yeah,
Trans rights. What trans rights means is that if you don't have people investing money into surgeries and everything, you're never, ever, ever going to see another Franken dick again in your life. Because I bet that dick was the beneficiary of a whole bunch of research
Man,
into bottom surgery.
by that. Yeah.
So is he apparently on two sides.
Franken cock.
The trans rights, that conversation is also super political.
Yeah. Yeah.
On like a very basic, like on the very, 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 very fundamental, like scientific, biological, psychological side of it, it seems like there are some people that for whatever reason their brains seem to be sexed differently than their bodies, and in all the therapeutic, whatever the fuck, and trying to give people therapy and trying to give people medication, it seems like there's no way.
I think there's some truth to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
These
it seems
people
like
are not doing this shit for nothing.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know now, but generally in the past,
Yo,
yeah.
you're doing it for shits and giggles, huh?
The 85% of trans people that are now like non-binaries at college, that's a separate thing.
Yeah.
But for like trans people, for actual trans people, it seems like there's an issue there, and it seems like of all the ways to treat them, you can either change the mind or change the body, and changing the mind hasn't seemed to work. So then you help them change the body, basically.
Don't seem like any of this shit's working.
Well, I mean, like the changing the body works for like those types of treatments work, but the issue is that now because it's such a political issue, now there's like trans is more like an aesthetic than like
and I don't think it needs to be political.
This is the thing. If you're 18 and over, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah.
But I just disagree with letting little kids, as young as 5, 6, 7, they go through these surgeries. I don't agree that it should be taught to kids.
And I think that would be common sense.
Maybe.
Put it in an adult.
Yeah, I'd be really careful with that. So I think that there's a couple things. So one, kids aren't generally getting surgeries. That's pretty extreme.
They're taking drugs to prevent their...
Yeah, they might be doing like puberty blockers or whatever. But two...
But that's extreme too.
Yeah, it can be. The thing that I would say is that whatever the research is pointing at,
there's no research on this.
There's a lot of research. It's not long term yet, and it's still like it's very controversial.
I
right?
think
like
the research at this point is tenuous.
Yeah, it probably is for sure.
Yeah.
But like, if there's research on a particular thing, I think that that's a choice that should be left between the parents, the doctors, and the child.
But shouldn't the government protect kids from sick parents?
It should when reasonable, but like the problem is, and this is a hard one because in America, we have to tolerate people here that we really disagree with. Sometimes I think people in America think that like tolerating differences in opinion is like, well, you know, I want Bernie Sanders, but this guy likes Biden, so I guess we get along. Or like, oh, like I want Donald Trump for 2 terms, or this guy wants Donald Trump for a 3rd term, and I think that's weird. And like that's like the diverse. But really, it might be as different as like, yeah, like I think that my kid at 14 years old should be on puberty blockers, and you don't think that should be even allowed. But I think in the U.S., like in my mind, I've got a 13-year-old son. I'm just trying to think of like, if my kid had a medical problem when he was 14 or 15, and there was treatment that might have been available, and I couldn't pursue it because, you know, DeSantis or somebody had like outlawed it.
Yeah.
And if my kid ended up, you know, either dying or killing himself when he was 16 or 17, I think I would lose my fucking mind on that. Right. Now, I understand that there are definitely parents that can be abusive of children, and that's disgusting too. Yeah. But like the idea that you would block off, like that's the same argument that people use for firearms. I like guns, okay? Fuck you. Just because John fucks around with his gun and kills himself or has his kid killed doesn't mean you can take my shit. But that's the argument that people use for trans surgery. It's like, well, some parents are sick. And it's like, okay, well, some parents like rape their kids. I'm not going to chop my dick off because you think I might, like, what the fuck? No, that's crazy, yeah.
I think that, I've heard that before, that argument, well, affirming trans kids' sexuality or their gender saves lives. But I think that's an extreme way to look at it because, you know, mutilating, or I wouldn't say mutilating, removing body parts and blocking their puberty, I think that doesn't save lives. It's altering your life. For you to go out and say that it's going to save their life, it's just, you speak it metaphorically, and it's a bit extreme.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
nothing actually saves the kid's life.
Well, you're putting them in a position where they're less likely to, I guess, kill themselves, right?
Really?
But does it prevent them from committing suicide?
I mean, that's what the research would, you'd have to look to that.
Well, there's countless videos of people that regret, that went through that process to transition. I've seen plenty of stories where people have transitioned, got to surgeries, and they commit suicide. I've seen a guy transition, became a girl, whatever, looks just like a girl. Totally bang that if it was actual girl. But she ended up killing herself.
Sure, but I mean, like, there's a lot of stories on the other side as well, like kids that weren't able to transition or kids that never felt right in their body and ended up killing themselves.
You know what I think the problem is? We try to rationalize it. We try to rationalize it. I don't think you should rationalize anything when it comes to a child. I think they should make that ultimate decision when they're 18. I could care less if a man wants to wear a dress. I believe in freedom. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the pursuit of happiness. But when you push that on a kid, when that kid more often than not has been taught that or indoctrinated, because we came across this trans family, and the guy wants to be a woman, and the woman wants to be a man. They have a child, right? And the male, the biological male who's living his life as a woman, is trying to breastfeed the child. Watch this video.
I'm really thankful for Ahanu for creating our family.
Oh, I put it on here.
The baby has been able to latch, but I've not been able to produce any milk. It's okay, because we're gonna supplement the feeding with formula so that my baby's still getting the nutrients that they need, but I'm still feeling hopeful. I appreciate you so much for all your work. And I appreciate you also, baby. I couldn't have done it without you.
Man.
Okay, you motherfuckers need to give me a warning if you're gonna start putting shit like this on the screen. Jesus fucking Christ! All right, I was not ready for that. My God.
That's
See, this is the thing.
But hold on, wait. To be clear, these are fucking weirdos. Okay.
Okay.
These are not like
yeah.
because we can find fucking weirdos from every. My background is pro gaming. You better believe there's a lot of fucking weirdos
Right,
in my
right,
background, right. Or like for religious people, you got people that let their kids die because they don't believe in
Right.
like surgery or blood
Yeah,
transfusions.
that's
or whatever,
crazy.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
But you wouldn't use that argument to say all religion should be banned from the U.S.
Right.
Like
right.
I agree, there are fucking weirdos. I'm just saying that like in my like. Right now, we're talking about trans stuff, but before it might have been like medication, right? Like, does a child need to be on an amphetamine or a stimulant? Or does a child need to be on an SSRI or whatever? And it's like maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I think you need when you're getting in between like a parent and a doctor about their kid. That's just in my world. That's like the scare. You better have a
Dude,
rock
I think,
solid.
and
fucking,
personally, I think the doctor, the parents, everybody needs to be locked up. I mean, when you become a doctor,
yeah.
I mean, what you do should be based on science. There's not enough research with this.
Yeah.
I think this is just Frankenstein doctors
Yeah.
trying to make a buck. The only reason why we get to that video we got right there is because the weirdos, as you call them, they will do anything to affirm their fake reality. That's why they're pushing this on kids. It's to affirm these wackos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think a majority of the kids that wants to, go through these procedures because they've been indoctrinated, and those parents are trying to affirm their own lifestyle. Because
Sure.
imagine when this kid grows up, what do you think's going to happen? You think that kid's going to be straight? More likely, he's going to be non-binary.
Possibly, maybe, yeah. And I mean, these people are definitely weird. But like, I mean, like, how many trans people came from ordinary, well-adjusted? How many gay people came from ordinary,
Right.
well-adjusted families where
Right.
the parents have?
Right.
Yeah.
Same
And it's
thing
like
for
the
straight
best. If you
people.
think about it,
But
it's like the
that's-
best thing for like gay acceptance too. Now,
Right,
right?
right,
Like your
right.
kid comes up to you and he's like, "I need to tell you something." You're like, "Oh fuck," and your
But-
kid's like,
Yeah.
"I'm gay." You're like, "Oh, thank God."
You're not non-binary, right?
Oh, he's just
But-
gay. Okay,
This clip that I showed you, that was in a documentary on TLC.
sure,
In a rational society, those people be locked up and that kid would be taken away.
maybe.
Because
But
he's
like people
actually-
say that shit about some religious stuff too, right? You got to be careful
Yeah.
for that, right?
Oh, but that's
No.
that is crazy.
That's why I say we politicize things. We shouldn't look at things politically. It's either right or it's wrong.
Yeah, but again, like we're loading that, like making it so obvious. Like you talk about like cutting off genitals and stuff. Like we still like circumcise kids in the United States.
That's good. That's different from chopping it
That's
off.
real weird though. Why are you chopping parts of kids' dicks off?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not circumcised, so I
Sure, but
totally
I'm
get
just
it.
saying that's fucking weird, right? We just
Yeah.
cut it's because you want the little
Well-
boy's dick to look like the dad's dick, and that's really it, right? That's kind of fucking weird.
Yeah, I remember my mom.
Not as weird as chopping it off.
Might not be as weird, but it's still pretty fucking weird. And you can have complications that mean they have to chop it off, right? That was that one. There was a famous case study for a guy that they tried to make him a girl because at birth they had, I think, a complication from a circumcision, so they ended up having to take the whole dick.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm just saying that
Mm.
sometimes we think like we should only do what's clearly right or clearly wrong, and it's like, I mean, we've got other weird shit in society, and yeah, I don't know.
You don't think you're playing Russian roulette with the child's life?
You might, but the argument is you're already playing Russian roulette with a child's life because of these kids that do grow up trans and can't find any help or treatment, and then they end up
Right.
offing themselves whatever.
I look at it like this. When we have enough information on it, like right now, I'll like proceed with caution. I don't think anybody should be doing this until they're 18. But the parents that's proceeding with this type of life altering medication and affirming the kid's lifestyle, I think when the data comes out, it's going to really hurt the gay community.
Maybe, but I mean, if the data comes out and it doesn't work, it's not helping. You just then we stop it. We walk it back.
Yeah.
But
But
I mean,
damn,
like-
we sacrifice a lot of kids.
I don't think there's that many. Like for
Yeah.
surgeries and stuff, it's not. I don't think
Yeah.
that's incredibly rare.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm a firm believer sexuality is taught. Like the majority of us are straight because I had straight parents.
Yeah.
If I grew up and I had two gay parents, I would think majority of society would be gay.
Yeah.
I think
I think it's taught.
Is that? I don't know if that's true or not.
I think the majority of society is straight because they have.
I think
straight
it'd be
parents.
some outliers. Like you grew up a conservative family, right?
Yep, super Catholic. Yeah.
Yeah, you're an outlier. You bisexual, gay. You know, there's gonna be outliers. Gay people raising a child. There's gonna be some outliers. They're gonna be straight. But I think it will be a huge increase in the gay population.
Yeah, be the majority at that point.
Yeah,
If everybody was raised to be gay.
Yeah.
Because that's how you were raised to be straight, but you're like you said, you're an outlier. I think majority of society would be gay.
I don't know if there's like that research yet that shows that like if a kid is raised a certain way, it like correlates more with being gay. I think they've been trying to find that a lot because it's really
Well,
hard to figure out where it comes from. But I don't think we have a good understanding of like where it
let me
comes
paint a
from.
picture for you.
Okay.
You grow up. You got two gay dads.
Yeah.
Say you're adopted. Say they're two black men, right?
Mhm.
Two gay black men adopt you, right?
Make a white man.
Huh?
Make a white man.
No, I want to make the story crazy. 2 black men, right? Buff as hell, big as shit. Both of them 6'3", rippling muscle. And every morning you wake up, you're like, oh yeah, take it. Oh yeah, hey dad, I'm finna come. You hear that every morning. It's going to normalize it in your brain.
Yeah.
So the first thing you do when you hear pit, man, I want to get fucked like my dad. Because you've been taught that. You know?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think the studies are out there yet for it, but who knows?
Well, you say it's not enough studies out there for trans kids.
Like
yet,
me having like a father and a mom, and just my dad kissing my mom, that embeds stuff into my brain.
Yeah.
It teaches me certain things, I think.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have that and I had 2 gay dads and I seen them kissing and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, you want some of that. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying. You can keep saying the same story. I don't know if there's actually I don't know if there's anything to support that other than it sounds.
So you don't think people can be groomed?
What do you mean by groomed?
Like a pedophile, when they do something to a kid, a lot of times that kid grow up and do that same thing to other kids when they grow up. They become pedophiles.
Yeah. I think it's possible, but like the majority of people that abuse kids aren't even pedophiles. Like 10%, I think, of them.
I'm just talking about pedophilia.
Yeah.
It's possible. I don't know.
It's possible.
I think that sexuality is really complicated, and I don't think we have any good answers for like.
There's a psychological side to it. There's an
yeah,
environmental side to it.
Yeah, biological. Yeah, it's hard to know. Like, I just don't think there's any strong research that points to one side or another.
Yeah, the thing about trans kids, to hop back on that, and I was like, man, we don't let kids smoke. We don't let them vote, drive a car, and for them to have an ability to even have an influence over their parents to have such a life altering it, because you can't go back after that.
Well, I mean, if you do puberty blockers, you can, right?
They say you can reverse it, but
before
Michael
doing
Jackson went through something like that. That's why he has a high pitched voice.
a lot of
opera singers do it too. They have it's for the men. I forget what they call it.
So their voice will be high pitched.
High like pitched like a woman. You don't.
There's some things you don't go back. Like females who jump on testosterone, they start growing beards and their voice get real deep. Once you get off that testosterone, you can't change that.
Bodybuilding women, that voice change. You can't.
Yeah, it's going to stay raspy. Mm-hmm. You know, some of these things that
I mean, if you do hormones, depending on the female to male one, there are things that change. Mm-hmm. Because when you have testosterone and the cartilage thickens in your whatever that causes the atoms to come out, when you get rid of the testosterone, that doesn't go away, so your voice is always a little. So, different.
Do you think trans women should be able to breastfeed their kids?
Oh, does just fucking milk come out?
They call it.
Call it milk, but we all know it's sweat, pus, and salt.
Listen, whatever they say it is in the fucking beaker, okay? When Walter White tested, whatever it fucking says, they want to do it. I think it's fucking weird, but
if she takes those drugs and start producing that milk or whatever they want to call it, do you think they should breastfeed their kid with that?
Listen, I don't know.
Take a stance,
I don't know. Those 2 guys were weird for a whole bunch of reasons. That had nothing to do with being fucking trans. Those are just weird fucking people. Okay?
No, those are straight up trans. Dude.
Yeah.
That is the trans community right there in a nutshell.
Look, this is my position. I'm all about people living a life how they want to live.
It's got to be based in reality.
But it's got to be based in reality.
Well, but I mean, you say that, but then like every fucking atheist is going to say, well, what about all the religious people that do all the weird shit with their kids?
Man, let's stick to the trans.
I'm just saying, you're saying based in reality. And you got like atheists versus religious people. That's like one of the fundamental disagreements between fucking, Yeah,
but we talking about trans kids.
So do you think they should be allowed to breastfeed?
I think that we should follow the science. If the science says one thing and people want to do it, I mean, it's their choice. It's their families. They could do it. If there's not strong supporting evidence, then it should be experimental. So only okayed in like extreme circumstances. And if the evidence is pointing strongly against it, then you don't let them do it because it'd be harmful to the children. I think it's exactly.
What if you don't have the evidence?
If you like they said, well, if you've got like exploratory stuff, then it's experimental, and you like green light it for extreme cases. Like if you've got like a parent, or if you've got somebody dying of like some cancer, and they're like, listen, we can do chemo, we can do radiology, or whatever. You got like 2 months, but there's this other thing. We could try it. No guarantee. There's like clinical trials or whatever. You'd like try it that way, and the trials you see how they work. But I mean that's all you do. Yeah.
I think you should ban that shit.
I think those parents,
you need to ban
they
that
go
shit,
to
bro.
jail for a very long time. They take the kid, right? Take the kid, have someone adopt or put them in foster care. Those 2 people that we just saw, they shouldn't be nowhere near kids. Because let me explain to you. It's probably gonna make you uncomfortable. Well, it probably won't because you're gay. But for me, my nipple is an erogenous zone.
Here we
right?
go.
Okay.
Like
your nipple, you're one of them.
Both of them.
Okay.
Right. When my wife touches it, I get a hard erection.
Me too.
Right?
My nuts
Hard
get,
erection.
My
I
nuts
mean,
get tight. My nuts like 2 tennis balls sitting together.
Yeah.
That's an erogenous zone.
yeah, so,
You don't think women don't feel the same way?
yeah, women feel the same thing.
Yeah,
I
but-
just want to, this is just
But see,
anecdotal.
women-
Hey,
women-
shut up. This is just anecdotal, but that's an erogenous zone for a lot of people, men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude's getting sucked off. Well, he's trying to
Yeah, but I mean, aren't
breastfeed
women getting
his
sucked
kid.
off when they're breastfeeding
Yeah,
their kids?
but it serves a purpose. It's got milk in it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's
a
why
man-
women can do it.
My nipple serves no purpose.
Yeah, that's weird. I agree. If there's
And
no
my-
milk coming out, that's pretty fucking weird. I agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife told me like when she was breastfeeding, she said it hurts. The kid latches on. It's like a little fucking rabbit just about to bite your fucking nipple off. So it's nothing. That dude's getting sucked.
Okay.
That's a dude. There's no nipple. It's just sick.
Here,
This shit needs to be banned.
This is my mental test. This is what I do when I think about shit like this. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're in power and you're saying, I want to prevent kids from XYZ, the government needs to have the power to make this illegal. What I try to think of is, okay, let's say that the guys that I don't like are in office and they have the same power. What would they take from me? And if I feel like I stand to lose more than I'd gain otherwise by having that power, then I say, well, fuck that. So the only thing that scares me about saying, like, oh, well, if I'm this trans shit, we got to ban this and blah, 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 blah. If I were religious, I'd be worried about all the parents that are like, well, I think taking, you talk about indoctrination earlier. I think confirmation is indoctrination. I think that taking kids to church and making them, listen to people speaking in tongues, that's indoctrination. I think that Mormonism and all this crazy shit, I think that's indoctrination. That should be illegal. And if you guys want to ban the queer books or whatever the fuck from school, well, we should ban Bibles and shit as well. So it's like, fuck it. I don't think. Yeah, it's just hard. This is why I say for the trans
Everything
shit,
should be
there's nothing
politicized, though.
unique about the trans stuff.
Yeah.
You just look at it scientifically,
it's
compare it
very
to any.
unique.
No, it shouldn't be. You look at the science and you just follow the research. Right now, it looks like that's it.
They're
It's easy
using
as that.
Frankenstein science. Like society as a whole
Yeah.
stand to lose absolutely nothing from trans women breastfeeding. We have nothing to gain. Nothing to gain. All
Sure, and I
everything
mean
that
that might
loses
be a
anything.
thing that's too far, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that might
yeah.
be. Yeah, that's fine.
because
But like
you
to
can go
lose
too far
all
left,
of it,
too far right.
yeah. But I just think it's weird, like for the trans stuff, it's like such a minority problem.
Mhm.
But like, how many percentages of American men get their dicks like cleaned up when they were fucking newborns? That's fucking weird. But that's like a totally normal thing, and that's impacting what half of American men or whatever, how are like fucking dick
But
cut.
circumcision.
Yeah, that's
I'm
wild
all
to me,
for
yeah.
circumcision. I'm
Then you
not
can't
for that.
possibly be for that's wild because that's
I'm not-
absolutely
I'm
no medical anything. That's just
No, well,
yeah.
circumcision, they say is because I'm not circumcised.
Yeah.
And if you don't roll it back, you're going to get a bunch of dick cheese under there. So that's why they cut all the skin off so you won't have all that dick cheese.
yeah. And if I chop your fucking feet off at the ankles, you probably won't have smelly shoes.
Man,
I mean, learn to fucking clean yourself. What the fuck? You want to take a fucking shower?
No, who's talking about? I'm talking about dicks.
I know, but I'm saying you fucking clean
Dicks
your
don't
dick.
have a bunch
Yeah,
of skin on
if
it.
you chop anything off the fucking body, it's not
Right.
gonna get dirty. How many people don't clean behind their ears? We're not lobbing people's fucking ears off so they got
That's
fucking
totally
clean hole.
different.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
You're chopping parts of dicks off. How are you sitting here defending dick chopping? That's wild to me.
They're not chopping the dick off.
They're chopping up part of the dick.
Well, they're just trying to keep the dick cheese from growing, man.
So-
because I get dick cheese if I don't roll back.
If
Hey,
somebody
man,
gave you a fucking hoodie with the
Enough
hood
about
fucking
dick
removed,
cheese.
it wouldn't be okay. Dicks come with foreskins for a reason, okay? I'm just
All
saying.
right.
Anyway,
I totally agree.
thank you.
I'm glad I still got my foreskin.
So you should totally against little kids chopping their dicks off, right?
Only the top part.
Okay.
Bottom surgery for under 18 is, I don't think that happens in the U.S. And no, I don't think I'd ever be okay. That's a really, really extreme. Yeah, I don't think bottom
Yeah.
surgery for under 18, but I don't think anybody really supports that. That's
So-
like the most extreme people.
So you're,
Yeah.
you're like with the dick skin, the circumcision. So you're
hey, shut up. Hey, what? Like, since we're on the transgender thing,
Yeah.
what is a woman to you?
What? Fuck, that's a really complicated question.
man. Come on, man.
That's an insanely fucking complicated question.
Yeah?
Here's, okay,
Okay.
without diving too deep in all this dumbass shit, okay? Listen,
Yeah.
okay? Jesus Christ, okay?
Take it easy.
If I tell you a thing, okay? Okay, in philosophy, there's a thing called a qualia, okay? So, like, what is it like to experience something, okay? Behind you is a red curtain. If you'd never seen the color red before, and I say, there's a red curtain behind you, I can never actually express what that qualia is to you. You're not going to know unless you experience it yourself, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So there are things that we experience, and when we have two brains, okay, I can never send you an idea. I can't do it. It's impossible because our brains are separate. So what I do is I speak a word, and when I say something, I hope that you have an experience that maps onto that. So when I say like, oh, this blanket is really soft, you might think soft like, oh, like a dog or a kitty cat or a pillow. You've got other experiences that map onto it, right? For all of the language that we use when we say words, there's a whole bunch of associated concepts that like pop up when we say those words. Now, they might not map cleanly onto some universal, Platonistic form of a thing. So for instance, when I say table and I tell you to define a table, you can never give me a definition that encompasses all tables and excludes all things that aren't tables, right? Do they always have 4 legs? Does this one have 4 legs? Does it have 1? Is it something you can sit on or not? Like, it's really complicated. So when you say like, well, what is like a woman? Well, when you say woman, depending on the context, it lights up a whole bunch of concepts. So woman, they tend to dress a certain way. They tend to have certain hair. They tend to exhibit certain like characteristics. They tend to have certain body parts. They tend to have certain, right? So a woman, it really kind of depends on the circumstance, right? Like if I'm in let's say that I'm in school, right? And I'm like a grade schooler and somebody says, oh, a woman just walked by. Well, in that case, you're probably speaking more to age than like genitals or whatever, right? Because like, oh, a woman, oh shit, like Mrs. Whoever is coming
when a
across
woman, when somebody said that, I think of tits and a vagina.
Sure, maybe, but like you might meet somebody.
No,
or,
not maybe. A woman walks by and someone say, "Oh, she's got tits and a vagina."
But not you're associating behaviors way more. When you see somebody in a store and you identify them as a man or a woman, you're never seeing their genitals. You have no fucking idea. You don't know if that guy's got a
I
dick
could totally
or a pussy.
look at you and I could tell you're a guy.
Yeah,
I might have the tightest binding in the fucking world on right now, hiding the 32 double D's. It's like fucking
99%.
Dude, you're totally a man.
Sure, but like you're making that evaluation based on probably my voice, probably my fucking beard, but maybe shape of my body. You're not actually seeing my genitals, though. You know, or at least I don't think you are.
I can tell you got a cock.
Yeah,
I can totally
I have to
tell.
wrap it around my leg twice to get the fucking
Yeah, you can tell. Like, female and male is not complicated, but people overcomplicate it to fit their narrative.
You say, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but like even when you say like people overcomplicate it, like gender and like how we express it is like it is a pretty complicated phenomenon.
But it's so complicated that you can't even define it. That's the problem.
Well, because we typically don't. We just kind of like when we use words, we don't have like strict definitions of like what a word is, and we even playfully joke about this. Like, is a hot dog a sandwich? Right? How crazy is it that sandwiches are things that everybody's familiar with, but you can't actually give like a strict definition of what a sandwich is? Or does cereal count as a soup? Well, yes or no. Or fucking, if you're in fucking Texas, does chili have beans in it, right? People fucking fight you to the death on this shit.
A hot dog is not a sandwich.
Okay.
It's a fucking hot dog. Look here.
Hamburger is not a sandwich. It's a hamburger. A sandwich is just 2 slices of bread.
A hamburger? Hamburger is not a sandwich?
No, it's a hamburger. A sandwich. This is a sandwich. I'm going to define what a sandwich is.
Okay.
All right. Hot dog. Bun. Weenie. Hot dog. Hamburger. Patty.
Hey, Kevin.
Bun.
What about a chicken
hamburger.
sandwich? Chicken sandwich.
It's all
Chicken sandwich.
Kevin.
Bun. Well, it's different. Now, a sandwich, typically when I think of a sandwich, when I typically think of a sandwich, I think of 2 slices of bread and whatever meat.
Ham, cheese, lettuce,
Ham, cheese,
tomato.
all the works.
But they're all fucking sandwiches, Kevin. It's bread and a meat.
What about a patty melt, like sourdough toast? Is that a sandwich or is that a...
Is it wrapped in
Hey, look,
lettuce or a bun?
Hey, you see what the fuck he did? He changed the subject.
I'm just saying words are complicated. Like when people say like, oh, what is a woman? And it's like, give me a definition of it. But like, what is a table? What is a chair? Like any word to define. You're talking
this
about
is my definition
it's particular
of a woman.
versus universal. Go for it.
This is my definition of
Okay,
woman.
go for it.
A human being with female reproductive parts.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what a woman is.
If you want to say that, that's fine. But our use case for it is we don't usually identify people that way. We usually identify people by the way they dress and the way they appear outwardly.
We've always identified women that way.
No, we identify people
Based on
90%
their
of the
sex.
time. No, based on how they look.
Yeah, their
Yeah.
sex.
But who chooses how to look that way? Men dress a certain way because that's how men tend to dress that way.
Mhm.
Women like things that women like to do. That's why women like to wear makeup. They like to wear dresses. Men don't really like to wear that type
I mean,
of
but
stuff.
it depends. I mean, you look at
Like the genders choose how they want to represent themselves.
they do, but we also feed back into each other. And we give like if you look at how you take guys out of the fucking 60s and shit that were
Yeah.
pop stars and shit, you throw them into
70s,
today.
80s. Again, hell,
Yeah, you got some. Yeah, you got some
Mhm.
crazy shit. Or
Yeah.
even in the 90s and 2000s, rappers wearing fucking earrings and shit.
Yeah,
You know, in white communities, people are like, my kid's not gonna wear a fucking earring or
Yeah,
jewelry
but
or
they
whatever,
still
or like
knew what they-
metrosexuals. Like,
But
But
the
they
problem
still-
is
but
they
they-
still knew there was men and they still knew there was
Yeah,
women.
Michael Jackson, if he was born today, he'd probably be trans. Prince, he'd probably
Sure.
be trans.
Yeah.
They all like that one group.
Motley Crue.
All those rock bands, they were like long hair, very feminine. Got
Yeah.
all the bitches though. They still knew that they were men.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
It's
I just,
so
what I'm
complicated
saying,
that you
it's,
can't-
it's, well, it's not complicated. It's
Yeah.
intuitive, but just because something is intuitive doesn't mean that there's not like a really sophisticated thing happening underneath, right? Like for instance, like you guys Oh man, I used to watch your shit so long ago. I was gonna say you guys
With
do
the
like
fitness stuff?
deadlifts, yeah, but
Yeah.
you don't, because you call them back snaps. You don't do
I
deadlifts.
ain't breaking my damn
You
back.
you do squats or whatever.
Fuck no.
I got
leg
it.
Fuck,
press.
okay, none of the
got a
gay
fat
exercise.
back.
Okay, well, fuck all that shit. Walking, okay,
Mhm.
is an incredibly complicated action. There's a ton of different things going on. You've got inner ear keeping balance. You've got eyes that are looking to make sure you're not like veering off course.
Mhm.
You've got like tons of muscle systems, right? But like you don't think about it. It's intuitive. You fucking you walk and talk at the same time, even though both those things. Like look at the Boston Dynamics robots. Like look at how many fucking millions of man hours of programming just to get a machine to fucking walk,
Mhm.
right? It's complicated, but it's intuitive, so you don't think much about it. I feel like the best evidence of like when you're thinking about like men and women or whatever is it's really funny, regardless of how you feel. If you look at like Ben Shapiro or if you look at Steven Crowder, sometimes these people will bring up trans people, and because they want to call them by their what they think they're correct, pronouns is like that's a man or whatever. When they're talking about the person though, they accidentally keep slipping into like, oh yeah, Dylan Mulvaney, was that a popular trans? I don't follow this shit.
Yeah.
That was a trans woman or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Whenever they refer to Dylan, keep saying, oh yeah, she's doing this. I mean he. Yeah. I don't like Dylan because she said this. I mean he said this, right? And it's like, okay, well, what's happening there? Is he confusing the sexual organs of the person, or are we just like mapping other things onto what we?
Well, he's
generally-
confused, and and Dylan's confused.
I
Okay.
think it's
Yeah.
just a confusing situation for everybody. They're
Yeah.
confused
Sure.
and it confuses everybody else.
Yeah. I'm not
Um,
trying to say, by the way, also that like men and women don't map onto very real different like sexual characteristics. They
Mhm.
clearly do, right? There are
Mhm.
different reproductive systems, different reproductive gametes that like are almost always mapped onto male to male and female to female. Like that's almost always true. I'm just saying that in society, in common parlance, when we talk about like a man or a woman, there's a lot of stuff with language that's super complicated that we don't realize is
Yeah,
happening when we say things.
I
That's
just
all.
think women have tits and vaginas, dudes have nuts and balls and cocks.
Yeah, and most of the time that'll be true, but
But
Yeah.
even if let's say I want to be a woman,
Mhm.
I could dress like a woman. I get all circus. I could be the baddest bitch on the block, standing on the corner making all kinds of money. It still doesn't change the fact that I'm actually a guy.
what I guess the question is, so language exists because there's some utility, right? Like the reason why we say words is because we get something out of it. I'm invoking some idea. I'm getting some kind of response from you. Like that's why we have words, right?
Right.
So the question, I guess, is like, what does it mean to be a man or a woman in like a given circumstance? Because that's going to determine like these. Like if you go to the hospital,
Mhm.
regardless of what the fuck, how you identify or whatever, like your actual biological sex is probably going to be really important depending on what you're looking at, right? You're not going to
Right.
go to the hospital for a pap smear if you're a guy.
Yeah, you will
Um,
if you're trans woman.
Okay, yeah. But if you are, but that's what I'm saying, right? You're gonna like the biological sex could be really important there. But
Mhm.
like if you're, let's say that you're standing on the street corner, okay, and let's say that you lose all your muscle and you're the most lithe, nubile, beautiful, young-looking fucking
I'm a
woman
bad
ever.
bitch.
Sure. And let's say somebody sends a drive-by down the street and it's like, I want you to shoot every fucking woman you see. And a guy drives by and he sees you in your beautiful, ornate, flowery, sundress,
Yeah.
and the guy unloads on you, and you're like, oh no, I'm not a woman, I'm a man. Well, in that case, it didn't really matter. He identified you as a woman. He clocked you as that.
Yeah,
and then-
tricked them.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you could
I
say
deceived them.
maybe, yeah.
But
But
my position is this:
Mhm.
transgender LGBTQ has confused and has overwhelmed people with sexual identity or gender identity that nobody can give or present a honest definition of what a woman. And because of that, now you got men going inside of female restrooms. You got men competing against females. You got men trying to breastfeed
Yeah.
kids. If you don't have a definition for what a woman is, then the women, these transgender women, will affirm their gender by minimizing women. Because the only way a transgender woman can affirm and be an actual woman is to minimize another woman.
yeah, maybe, and maybe they shouldn't be competing in sports because that
Yeah.
would be bad for a variety of reasons. But
Right.
like, I just want to say that like this thing relating to trans, like gender, sex, or whatever,
Mhm.
like none of this is unique. Like we've fought over
Mhm.
gender identity and gender expression for probably for thousands of years over like
Yeah.
what does a man look like, what does a man do, what does a woman look like, what does a woman do. Like these are things that like, and we should continue to push on it and
Mhm.
champion the things that we believe are true. I feel like one big problem today that really sucks is kids today are getting way too much attention. So whereas in my even when I was growing up, like you might believe or do some dumb shit in high school and college, but like you'll grow out of it. Everybody knows you will. But
Mhm.
now with social media, now if you've got a dumb idea or whatever, you might be a worldwide famous Twitter star, TikTok star at 18 or 19.
Yeah.
And now moving on from those ideas feels a lot different. And you're getting way more validation, and it's going to make it harder to kind of like grow up and shed maybe some of the stuff that isn't as true, which is I think a huge problem. Because like people are like and I know this is true for both of you, whether you admit it or not, we all believed and did fucking unbelievably retarded shit when we were kids.
Yeah.
You're never more sure of what everything is in the world than when you're an 18, 19-year-old man ever. That's when you are the highest point of confidence. And I believe that did so much dumb shit. But that's fine. You should. You should believe in crazy, stupid things when you're a kid because that's what you do. You do it through college or whatever. That's always been historically the case. But now with the social media and all the attention, now it just makes it really hard for people to see that as a phase because they're getting a lot of validation externally that they probably shouldn't be. No offense, but like if you're 19 years old, I don't give a fuck what you think about unemployment or the minimum wage or because you've never even worked a job before. Why the fuck would I care? Yeah. You should still have the opinions though, like be crazy, but it's
before we switch gears, you think that about 19-year-olds and 18-year-olds, we really shouldn't listen to kids about chopping their dicks off. That's all I'm saying. Hey, I asked you what is trans rights. Shut up.
Hey, man, hold up, man. I want to say something.
What the question about trans rights?
No, I just wanted to say this. Like, I'm not against like trans people at all.
Yeah.
I just think you still need to keep your life in reality. You're still, if you're living your life as a woman, you're a man, but you're living your life as a woman, which is fine. But when you try to affirm yourself by coming up with these pronouns and you go in women's restrooms and you competing against women and you having a kid suck on your nipple, you're not in reality at that point. I think it just hurts society.
Sure.
That's the way I see it.
I don't necessarily disagree, but like I'm pretty sure like 99% of trans people would agree with that. Like most trans people don't want to go into the wrong bathroom and have somebody like attack them for like most don't want that smoke, you know. And then people that are trying to, you know, argue the opposite of like, well, I don't want this person in my bathroom. It's like bullshit. If you're a dad and you go into the bathroom with your son, you don't want fucking Blair White walking in, you know, being like, oh well, this is the bathroom that conservatives have to go into, so now I'm going to take a piss next to your son, and now you have to have this.
I'm totally all for that.
Okay,
I'm totally all for that.
Okay, fine.
Me and Blair
you don't
White
want your wife.
together.
You don't want your wife. You don't want your wife going into the bathroom with her 6-year-old daughter and Buck Angel, yeah, walks in, you know, and now you've
Who's
got
that bitch?
That's a trans man, right? The really famous trans guy.
I never heard her.
You'd
him.
You'd like him. You would. You really would.
He looks good, huh?
No, he has all your opinions. So, yeah, thinks all the trans stuff has gone way too far. And it's generally, But no, like I agree with you. Like most of that shit is fucking crazy. Like a lot of shit is crazy. But like I try not to define myself in opposition to the people that I think are fucking insane. Like I think a lot of like the DEI stuff is like kind of wacky sometimes, and a lot of the everything is white supremacy and all that shit is kind of wacky. But I'm not about to say like, oh yeah, you know, like I think all of the racial inequities in society have been completely addressed, and now it's just like, yeah, some people just suck. I try not to get pushed too far the other way.
You being raised by conservative parents, how do you did you push back on that early, or did you later? Because you consider yourself now to be a liberal, right?
Yeah, pretty hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the difference between a liberal and a progressive, though?
You're more progressive, right?
Depends on how you define them. What is a progressive?
Progressive means
progressive is chopping dicks off.
Yeah,
little kids. That's a progressive.
Progressive believe in late-term abortions.
There's I think a liberal is somebody that is like imagine like a
sane.
Imagine. Do you remember SJWs? From like 10 years ago, that's what we call woke people now. We call them social justice warriors. I think like liberals are like SJWs from like 10 years ago. So they're like, we need to have like gay marriage and every woman should have like the right to an abortion.
Right. You're
that's like
right.
a liberal, yeah. Now progressives are like, they're in another island doing some shit.
they still left there over there. You didn't even see it.
They kind of live in their own world. Yeah.
So you're liberal.
You ever see that? Do you know who Ryan Long is?
I probably know.
You ever see that fucking video where it's like the Nazi and the woke guy agree on everything?
A Nazi and a woke
It'll
guy.
be like, like a liberal would say something like, hey, we need to like we should loan more money to minority businesses to like help them catch up. Right. And then like the progressive would be like, actually, I think that minority businesses should be racially segregated because white people shouldn't be allowed to go into black-owned businesses, right? It'll be like that would be like the progressive versus the liberal, right? And then the Nazi guy would be like, I actually agree, we should racially segregate everything, right? Or like, that's the difference, yeah. But I think that progressives are just like liberals on steroids are like way more extreme, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely what
I would do anything if the Democrat Party was liberal. They bring back the old Bill Clinton liberals.
But the weird thing is I think that most of the Democratic Party still like that. The problem is that when you go online, especially too, like everybody that you see are like the crazy fucking college kids and then the crazy fucking activists. But then if you like look in Congress, like none of these people really like look at the Justice Dems, the four like AOC, Rashid Tlaib, right? And then Ilhan Omar and I forget their fucking names. But
Yeah.
AOC is like the big one that everybody talks about, right? Like
AOC.
all the progressives don't like AOC anymore because like she sold out. She's a fucking liberal. Fuck her. Like they don't even like her anymore. And that was their like champion. So I feel like even though these people are really loud online and really big in college campuses, which might be problems down the road, they're not like represented that much in Congress.
It's time to give up our new giveaway. It's a Dodge Ram power truck, and we about to do something we ain't never did before. It's a camper. Not only you get a brand new truck, you get a camper with it too, and $10,000 in cash. Hey Keith. Yeah. We've given away over $2 million in trucks and cash and prizes. We give them back to the people who support us. Instead of giving money to Facebook to advertise this stuff, they censor us anyway. So I say, you know what? Incentivize our own people to already support us. It's a win-win for everybody. Go to officialhodgetwins.com. Anything you buy from the site gets you automatically into the win. Yeah. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. See official rules for details. Yeah.
Right. Hey, so I'm gonna switch gears. What do you think about what's going on in Israel? That was a big change.
That was a huge segue.
Yeah.
What well, right now I think there's a war going on.
Yeah. What do you, what's your perspective on what's going
on?
Because I see the left. They said they call it a genocide. They call it ethnic cleansing.
Sure.
And
conservatives, they
call them Palestinians terrorists.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like I think the conservatives are more extreme on this than the actual left on this issue.
I don't think there's a genocide going on. I think that's kind of silly. I think that Israel's at war right now with Hamas. I think they have a good reason to want them to be gone. I think the humanitarian situation of the Gaza Strip is pretty bad, but not as bad as people are saying it is.
I've seen some photos of the Gaza Strip, West Bank. It looks apocalyptic. It looks like end of world.
There's a lot of bombing and shit that goes on there. Yeah.
I mean, it looks horrible. It's like it looks like something you see in a movie.
Looks like that movie I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, like they're like some of the highest recipients of foreign aid in the world. Like, assuming the war ends, you could rebuild that shit pretty fast if you get the people, the companies in there to do it.
That's one of the biggest arguments to Palestinians. Like they're getting a lot of foreign aid. Israel.
Here's some pictures.
Yeah,
I mean, the whole city looks like that. West Bank.
Well,
Gaza.
that's Hamas's stronghold. You know that?
Yeah,
they were hiding out. They had a big army base.
Yeah,
they figured out it was an army. That's not actually apartments. That's an army base.
Yeah, all that's this Hamas, huh?
Yeah, they are a huge army. Did you know that?
Yeah,
I thought they were like. I'm being facetious.
No, don't worry. I know. I could tell.
But what I was gonna say was, like, you speak of the foreign aid.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the Palestinians are claiming that foreign aid is not making it to them. Israel is keeping everything and not sending anything to the Gaza and West Bank.
I think if anybody's stealing it, it's probably Hamas. That's where they get the money for all the weapons and the tunnels, and that's why their billionaire leaders and stuff are over in Qatar.
So you think they're taking aid and building tunnels?
They have tunnels. Yeah, you can see them everywhere. Yeah,
you don't need aid to build a tunnel. You just need a shovel.
You got to have concrete to lay the fucking shit. You got to do the wires. You got to get it's a lot of fucking work to.
I don't believe anything I hear on TV. Like they say they're using kids as human shields. We can't verify that.
I don't know if they're using kids as human shields. They use kids to fight, though. Like, they fight. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like, in the West, we have this idea that, like, a 17-year-old is just this starry-eyed person. But if you go to, like, super war-torn areas, like, you give kids AK-47s when they turn 10 years old.
Right. Do you believe in the original that Palestine actually existed?
Not. Depends on what you mean by that. What is a Palestine?
Well, it used to
be called UK Palestine.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. There was... So, when the Ottoman Empire fell after World War I, all the European countries, because they were kind of moving away from we're going to make colonies and like take over everybody. So they're like, okay, well, after the Ottoman Empire is gone, we're going to kind of like draw out all these areas. We'll call them countries, and we're going to let you people kind of like figure out what you want to do. And then in 20 years, we're going to give it to you. It was like the mandate system. And so, there was a place called Mandatory Palestine that was the Palestinian state. And then the UK had also made promises to Jewish people who were like, we want to have like a place where we can go and like live because we get killed everywhere we go. So they started.
You should laugh when you say that.
Yeah, I mean, they started moving down there, and then
who determined that? The British, right?
The British, because it was the British mandate for Palestine. And then the thing that I'm referring to, everybody calls is the Balfour Declaration.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So this is what I want to say. Shouldn't it be the people that live in Palestine? Shouldn't it be more like a democracy? Should they have a vote in who gets when they bring refugees?
That's the whole map of it right there.
Well, so this map is not really accurate, but I
mean, my question is like they so other countries decided what that area which was formerly known as Palestine. The people in Palestine.
Well, careful, because
had no-
it was never actually, there was no state called Palestine. It was part of the
Well,
Ottoman Empire.
The
yeah.
people that lived there, they
Mhm.
had no say-so in who and what refugees were brought in their country. Other countries determined that.
Yeah.
The people that actually lived there didn't have no say-so in that.
Yeah, but there was no government. There were no united people. It was like tribes of people and families that lived scattered across.
So
Mhm.
What
that
was
makes-
the demographic of people that lived there prior to that?
I think the vast majority were, it would have been Arabs. There were a few Druze, there were a few Christians, and there were a few Jewish people.
Yeah, a majority of it was Muslim.
Yeah,
Yeah, Arabs.
Arabs, yeah, Muslim
Yeah.
Arabs, yeah.
Yeah, but so because they didn't have a government, you don't think they should have had a say-so in what?
I mean, like,
What
well,
they
the thing was they lost a war, right?
lost
Like
the
they
war?
won that territory by conquest. That's why they were there. It's because it had been conquered by prior caliphates, by the Ottoman Empire. So they won it by conquest, and then the Ottoman Empire collapsed after the war, and then it was basically the Britain and France and the West were deciding, okay, well, what do we do with these territories? And then they drew them up, and yeah. I mean, like
Yeah, I
on the
just-
flip side, like should people have not been allowed to move to Palestine? Like they didn't even have a government there to represent.
I think they should have put the Jews not around a bunch of people that look like me. They should put them everywhere where there's a bunch of white people, like in Sweden.
Yeah, but I think the issue is that, like, keep in mind that you're talking about a time in the 40s where they got killed by a bunch of white people, the
Yeah.
Germans.
Well,
So,
the
I
Arabs-
mean, didn't seem like that worked too well. Yeah.
Well, the Arabs ain't too far on them neither. I mean, you're gonna put them around a bunch of Arabs.
Yeah.
That's
The thing-
dangerous. It's so dangerous. They got literally a dome over them.
Yeah,
they
but I
had-
mean, like
if
they
they
got a
get
whole
a-
ass state there now, right? They got their
Mm.
country. They're pretty solidified. They're
Yeah, I look at it from this point of view. Like
Uh-huh.
originally, when they were sending a bunch of European Jews there, they were refugees. That's how they were seen, right? Refugees. Now those refugees have totally pushed the original inhabitants of that area out to the West Bank, Gaza, and now we're funding billions of dollars to this country, and now they are pushing and attacking these people
I see
because I think these people are just retaliating.
I mean, I think that the complicated part though is that like so the Jewish people that were there, they
Yeah.
tried, they would have been willing to live like under a state where they had a bunch of these people, living there. It would
That's
have
what
been,
they say, though.
well, they accepted it. When the
Yeah.
UN said, we're going to make a partition and we're going to
Mhm.
say in 1947, here's your new state, 55% of you in this state are going to be Jews and 45% are going to be Arabs. That's a huge chunk of your population is Arabs.
Mhm.
The Jewish people reluctantly were like, okay, fine, fuck it, we'll accept it. And then the Arabs were like, nope, we're going to destroy you. Fuck that. So they
Mhm.
rejected it. And then the Palestinians went to war. And then all the Arab states went to war. And then they lost. And then that
Do
happened
you
like 3
understand
more
that
times.
argument that they were there first?
Well, but I mean, like, it's such a weird argument. Because in that case, Jews were there first, like 2,000 years ago.
Okay, so
right?
Yeah, I think everybody was there.
let me
Arabs,
let me
Jews.
say this: like
Mhm.
we
Christians.
fought that war to defeat Hitler because he was conquering and taking over countries.
Yeah.
Right. And we fought that war to stop him.
Mhm.
Right after that was done, we said, "Fuck it, we're going to do it to the Arabs in Palestine, and we're going to give this shit to Jews." We
Yeah.
did the same thing that Hitler was doing.
No,
but
I don't
at
think
least,
so.
At least we was conquering. We took over an area and turned it into something we wanted to be. The people that lived there had no say so in it. I think it's hypocritical of the U.S. and the entire world who fought to defeat Hitler, who was doing the same thing. He was trying to take over the whole world. Now they created
But
a
the
Jewish state.
Jewish people that moved there were just moving there. They bought land from Arabs. They moved Jewish people, and then they
Refugees.
started working in. Right? It's not like they didn't.
So they bought the land there.
They bought it, yeah, initially before but the majority of it they bought was bought before the Ottoman Empire even collapsed. The only time they conquered land, like they stole it through war, was when the Arabs said, "No, we don't actually want any of you to live here," and then they tried to go to war with the Jewish people and kick them all out, and then they lost all those wars.
So you don't think it's an ethnic cleansing?
Without getting
Because,
too
you know-
complicated, ethnic
yeah.
cleansing that's a very recent term that we've developed. But like
Yeah.
prior to the 1990s, like there's population transfer would happen when people go to war. After World War II, there's some millions and millions of Germans that had to move back to fucking
Mhm.
Germany because nobody wanted their fucking place.
Yeah.
Like after wars, population transfers would happen. It happened between Greek and Turkey. It happened between India and Pakistan. Like yeah, after wars, like you don't want people living. Sometimes you think they're gonna
Yeah.
like kill you. Yeah, it sucks. It's not nice. It's not
I
pretty.
think
but-
if you can call it out when other countries do it, you can call it out when Israel's doing it.
Sure, but again, like they immigrated to Palestine. They weren't just like conquering the land,
Right.
right? They were
They
just
So
shut
there's
off
a
his
bunch of open land there. I said, look at all this open and free land. We hit the jackpot when we got here. There was people already there.
sure, but I
Yeah.
mean, like you say, there was
It's
all
the
this
same
open and
Christopher
free.
Columbus shit all over again.
Hey, listen, they bought the land, they had the rights to it, they had the deeds
Yeah.
to it, they moved in people, they started working it, and then when the British finally realized, like, okay, well, fuck, like it seems like the people here aren't getting along. We
that's
need to
true,
make like
but
a partition
they're
for it.
trying to
Like the
make
Arabs said, no, fuck you, get the fuck out.
Right. They're trying to make it more homogenous. Just one people there. They don't want
it's a Jewish.
Palestinians.
It's a Jewish state.
Yeah.
But they accepted a partition that would have had 45% of their population as Arabs.
So why is Hamas bombing Israel if they're not pissed about? Because they're saying this is a genocide. That's why Hamas was created.
Hamas is trying to bomb Israel because the Palestinians there still want to take all of the land. They want to kick all the Israelis out, all the Israelis out of.
Yeah, because they were there first.
It depends what you mean by there first. They were only
They were
there.
there.
They were there because the Ottoman Empire conquered the territory, but technically Jews were there 2,000 years ago,
they
right? There's
were-
a reason why. There's a reason why Muslims don't want. There's this whole thing called the Temple Mount, and one of the huge concerns is you are not allowed to dig under the Temple Mount because if Jewish people start digging and they find remnants of the old temple, half the fucking Muslim world is gonna fucking kill themselves. They're like, no, because in their mind there were never Jews there. They can't even accept that as a possibility. So they can't even have them excavating underneath because they don't want them to find an old temple there because it'll fuck their
Well, by
brains up.
putting the Jews there, they've created a problem that you can never fix.
Yeah, and it might be the death of all of us.
Religion is there's nothing on this planet that's killed more people than religion. This shit's gonna blow up and kill everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it hasn't even killed that many fucking people.
It's
Like, if you
killed
if
a
you
lot of
like,
people.
it has not.
Yeah.
We think it has because of all the media coverage.
Well,
But like
just
in the
look-
history of all the Israeli Arab wars, all of them combined for the past 100 years, maybe 100,000 people have died.
Well, how do you fix it?
You can't fix that.
One nuke to take them all out. No, I'm just
Just
kidding.
turn into a parking lot, huh?
It's complicated.
Start
but
all over.
Somebody has to tell like the Palestinians, like, hey, you guys have to actually try to negotiate like a real ass peace deal because you're probably not going to get the entire territory anymore.
You know, I found a video of Trump, and he was saying that he wanted to negotiate, you know,
With the Palestinians and
with the Palestinians, and he said the only person that didn't want to come to an agreement was Netanyahu. That's what he alluded to.
I don't know what Trump has said on the Middle East. Trump said a lot of wild things, but
he's pro-Israel though.
yeah, he
Yeah.
is. Yeah, but I'm just saying that like I think that the Palestinians enjoy a lot of international support for their cause, and because of all that international support in their mind, they don't want to settle for anything less than all of Israel.
Yeah.
And that means that they can't be negotiated with. And now you've got Israel that's gone further and further right because obviously, yeah, with Netanyahu and everything, they're getting more and more pissed off at all the terrorist attacks. And they're just like, well, fuck this. They don't want peace. And it just like causes this huge schism. So neither side is really willing to come to the table and negotiate anything. But
Yeah, but people, when we talk about this conflict, people like to cherry pick. Like what
Yeah.
happened to the Israel on, well, I forget the date, and those people murdered. That was
October, yeah.
horrible, and that's a terrorist attack. But nobody actually looks at it holistically from what actually initiated this conflict.
It's been going on for decades.
Nobody wants to admit why it's happening. You know, that's why it's never going to get fixed. Nobody's willing to admit. Like a lot of people get criticized who criticize Israel, their label is anti-Semitic, which I'm not anti-Semitic. And they kind of hijacked that term to only mean Jewish people. It also means Palestinians. It means Arabs. I'm just trying to look out for another Semitic people that I feel. is
sure, but like
being-
people do that on the other side too, right?
Yeah.
Where they say like, oh, you don't like Palestinians because you're racist, you're bigoted,
Mhm.
right? So I mean, like
Mhm.
everybody weaponizes identity bullshit all the time. It's,
Right,
you know.
right. That's true.
It's ethnic cleansing.
That's what I think it is.
I mean, that's what it is. You're creating a Jewish state.
Yeah. You want all the original people that live there gone.
I mean, the place wasn't empty when they got there.
Yeah.
People had to move.
Yeah, but there's how many like Arab states
Mm-hmm.
that are ethnically Arab?
I know that's the thing. You shouldn't go to an Arab state. Arab Arabs say, you know what? I'm gonna make this shit Jewish. Y'all pack your shit up, get your turbans. Y'all need to get out.
Yeah.
Well, when you
created a problem that can't
when you
fix.
go on conquest wars and you lose and your empire collapses, this is what happens.
Well-
The Palestinians were part of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire was on the losing side of World War I, and that entire empire collapsed. And that's how new countries are made and new countries are formed. And like sometimes people get moved around, and sometimes it sucks. But I mean, like that's what happens. That was how the world worked in the early 1900s.
So you
Yeah, but like I said, that's why we defeated Hitler, because we said enough's enough. This is not.
Yeah, but we're already way past the point of the problem at that point, right? In 1937, there was a commission that the UK did called the Peel Commission, where they tried to like look at the problems. Like, okay, well, we've looked at the problems and we see this shit is fucked. You guys have to split. You have to make two different countries, and that was in 37. That was before Hitler started holocausting Jews. So you're already like fucked by the time that happens. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. You think the original people that live there, they're entitled to give them to settle what they want, or should they listen on the original Palestinians?
I think they. I mean, like having some kind of compensation, I think would be
Yeah.
nice. Like the ability to move back to like the West Bank or the Gaza Strip, if it was its own country, would be nice. Giving people money or compensation for stuff lost would be nice.
Mhm.
But I mean, no refugee in the history of all of mankind has been like, okay, we're going to let you move back into like the original house that you said you had like 100 years ago. Nobody's ever done that for refugees ever. Yeah.
That's what they did for the Jews.
That's not true though. How many Jews got kicked out of how many Arab countries? Every single time there was a war between Israel and an Arab state, all the Jews got like started fleeing all of the other Arab countries after every fucking war.
Yeah. Why do you think people hate Jews so much?
I don't know as much about like world history, but like if I had to guess, I think that something kind of unique happened to Jews and that they all got kicked out of their shit. You know, when the Kingdom of David or whatever the fuck, the original Israeli kingdom collapsed. And once they got kicked out and they left, they still managed to hold on to their religion and their culture pretty strong. So you have a group of people that are holding on to their religion and culture that value things like education or intelligence or whatever, and they move to other countries. And because of that, they never like fully integrate. So you're kind of looking at them a little bit weird, and they all kind of see themselves as kind of like a separate thing. And I think because of that, it's just easy to blame them or demonize them for a bunch of shit. But I mean, like nobody really likes those types of people. Like how many people like, Romani, like gypsy people, like people that are these like cultured people without a state that are like in your society. It's like nobody ever really likes these people. Yeah.
I think it's a difference in whose God you're worshiping. I think it's all based on religion. If we had the same religion, we wouldn't even have this problem.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
That's why they're trying to kick out all the Arabs. They wanted a Jewish state. If they all had the same God, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Yep.
It all boils down to religion.
That's why they.
Well, if that whole area was Jewish, be no.
I mean, if
pushback.
that was true, why do so many Arabs fight so many other fucking Arabs? Like look at in
Because there's
Syria,
a lot
that's
of
Syrian.
stupid Arabs out
Well,
there.
but I mean, like if you look at if you say the religious part, so I look in the Middle East, like okay, well, we get the Jews and we get the Arabs. So that's probably where all the death happens. That's not where all the death happens. The death happens between Iran and Iraq. The death happens in the Syrian civil war. The death happens between Iran and Saudi Arabia. The death happens in Yemen, right?
Well, I don't think
So
the
why
conflict,
don't you put Jews right there where the Arabs are already killing each other?
I just think if everybody had the same God, the conflict wouldn't be as astronomical.
You make a great argument. So why do you stick Jews right there with all these crazy Arabs?
I wish they
I
were
think
as
because
smart as you were.
I don't think there was any other good place for them to go, and because
Sweden.
I don't think
Norway.
Sweden and Norway didn't.
Palestine didn't want them. Hell, you should have stuck them in a white area because there was
It's not white.
European
You say
Jews.
white, but that's not how they view it.
They look white.
Dude, European people have like fucking X-ray goggles when it comes to ethnic fucking backgrounds. Like in the United States, I'm like, okay, black, white, Asian, maybe Chinese. When you go to fucking Europe, dude, you talk to a fucking, I know because my ex-wife is Swedish. You look at these people and they're like, oh, that guy over there, it looks like he's 44% Russian, I think 32% Eastern Germany, like 10%. Like, the fuck? It's like a white dude over here. Like, it's on there, they don't, in Europe, they don't look at people like, oh, he's white and he's black and they have like their ethnic lines they see that way more. Yeah.
I got a different perspective. When I went there, it was more like a class structure. I think the United States is more fascinated with race than when I went to Europe and Australia. I think people look at you from a class point of view, like what clothes you wear and how you presented yourself and how you talked.
Man, the whole continent of Europe has like a wide, rich history of war. Napoleon, like these people that go to war with each other and invade each other and kill each other. And I mean, you had your huge empires. How many collapsed after World War I? You know, your was that Czechoslovakia as well? And then you have like Austria-Hungary, and you've got like your they're like all the Ottoman Empire, like all of these places where like you got the whole the breakdown of Yugoslavia and like the the genocides with the Serbs and everything. Like European people kill each other a lot too, and they definitely see that racial.
Let me ask you this: could you compare what's going on in Israel, like what Christopher Columbus did to the Native Americans?
No, because if that was the case, Israel would just like kill all the Palestinians and be done with it.
Well, Christians it was under. I mean, Christopher.
Well, that was a genocide with the. That was an actual genocide.
Yeah.
You don't think there's no comparison there?
No.
Taking over their land.
How many genocides have you been able to surrender in? Like if somebody's genociding you, you can't say like, okay, well we give up, let's stop. Like that's not. It's just not.
Well, there's some Native Americans left. They say, no, it's enough, white man. I'll go to leave me alone.
Yeah.
I mean, like they call it a genocide, but like what? Like the war is very clearly in response to a precise military action, the October 7th stuff, right? So unless they just use this as a perfect excuse to genocide them, but then they're also like setting up humanitarian camps and trying to let in more aid and also dropping leaflets. It's like the weirdest genocide ever.
Humanitarian aid workers have been bombed by Israel.
Yeah, but Hamas fights out of humanitarian. They just published videos like yesterday showing Hamas workers like working in like literally going between humanitarian aid vehicles and shit. Like there's a reason why there's no videos of Hamas fighters in fucking uniforms. They all fight in civilian fucking garb, right? They hide weapons and shit in people's houses and they operate out of fucking hospitals. We've known that even Amnesty International reports shit like this.
So how do you think this is going to get fixed?
How do I think it's going to get fixed? Fuck, I don't know.
You don't fix it.
The problem is that like, there's not, because people don't understand the history or because people don't understand what both sides want. People just keep pushing for like the status quo, which is not tenable. You can't keep doing what we're doing. And I think that's probably unfortunately what's going to happen until the next big blow up happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a damn good episode going on.
Hey, before we get to that, hey, over 94% of y'all are watching, but you ain't subscribed. What kind of bullshit is that? Did you forget? We got a lot of damn good shows coming.
Yeah.
I mean, famous people.
Yeah.
I'm not having a bunch of plumbers and got some real people. Well, they real too, but
No, they ain't.
they ain't famous. I got famous people coming on. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications so y'all get notified whenever we got a damn new show coming.
Well, these people, they got brains. They know how to subscribe. And
Well, the white producers is telling us to say that shit. So, you a Joe Biden supporter?
I'm a huge Joe Biden supporter. Yeah.
Yeah?
dude, you're too smart to be a Joe Biden supporter. Dude,
You
you're
actually are.
very smart, articulate. How the fuck can you support that?
Well, it's really easy because I see the person on the other end of the ticket is Donald Trump. So I'm a very.
I mean,
So, what has Joe Biden did that's going to get your vote these 4 years?
I think our foreign policy aims right now are a lot more noble. So the conflicts that we're involved in right now are Ukraine, Russia. I'm a strong supporter of Ukraine, and then Israel, Palestine. I think that there's at least like a strong argument to be involved in this. The fact that he followed through on getting us out of Afghanistan, the fact that we pulled out of that Saudi coalition to like bomb the
I
fuck
like
out
the
of
way
Yemen.
he pulled out Afghanistan. That was perfect.
That was beautiful.
The way
He
he
couldn't
did
have
that.
did it any better.
Well, listen, Donald Trump negotiated the timetable. He's the one that left him there with like
Right.
4,000 fucking troops or whatever.
Well,
but
but-
at least we got the fuck out. At least we're out.
He should have did it
We're
better.
fucking out. I don't give a fuck. We're out. We finally 20 years. We're fucking out.
Dude,
okay?
I see 747 people's clinging onto it.
Yeah.
And they're going up in the air. I was like,
Yeah, because they know they're flying to America, the best goddamn country on the fucking planet. I'd cling to a plane too if I had to stay in fucking Afghanistan. Okay, listen, the great country. We're out. We're out. We're not talking about it anymore. That's all I
Biden
care about.
left
Okay.
Actual Americans there.
Huh?
left
Biden-
Americans,
that
left
pullout was
equipment.
so bad.
I'm pretty
he
sure
left
they got. I think
Americans.
by the end, every American got out because we would have been. Yeah, because we would be hearing about it nonstop if they had. I know.
I don't trust the media. You would not hear about that shit.
I think you, bro. I know a fucking who was the stream? There's like a streamer dude that like goes to crazy places or a YouTuber guy, right? They got trapped in Afghanistan for a while, but he finally got out.
You got out.
I think our foreign policy aims, I think, are better. We're not as involved in as much stuff like around the world. Domestically,
The
God.
Ukraine stuff.
The Israel stuff.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
Well, yeah,
like,
those are the two, but I think those are
two
two.
wars.
I appreciate
We
those
had-
two.
We had peace under Trump.
Now, with all the conditions for war were brewing.
Okay, so Ukraine, Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Russia invades Ukraine. You were against that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm against war. I'm anti-war. But since Putin has been the president of Russia for decades, he's always said Ukraine cannot enter NATO
Okay.
because I want to protect my borders. That he's always made that known.
Yeah.
That's
all
not-
of a sudden now, Ukraine wants to be a part of NATO. That's why he invaded.
No.
That's why he invaded.
No, he invaded.
He's protecting his
no,
borders.
he invaded.
Why did he invade?
He invaded because the guy that he wanted to be president in Ukraine ended up getting chased out of Ukraine in 2014. Yanukovych got chased out after their Euromaidan protests because he wanted to take Ukraine in a more pro-Russian direction, and Ukraine wanted to go in a more pro-European Union direction. And Yanukovych was like, "No, we're going to join like over here with the Russian customs union instead." And then there were huge protests and revolts against this,
Right.
and then eventually there
Well,
were police that
that's-
shot and killed
You
protesters.
don't
and he
think
ran
our
away.
intel agencies installed Zelensky?
I don't think so.
Well, there's been speeches of Putin for decades. He's
Mhm.
always told NATO, stay away from Ukraine. I want to protect my borders.
There's already 3 countries that are bordering fucking Russia. In the
But he's
Baltics.
been explicit about this for decades.
We had
He's-
agreement with him, too.
And
No, he
there's
didn't.
been there's been
RFK said there was an agreement.
Well,
RFK
he
Jr.?
lied. RFK is a fucking moron. So
No.
that's great.
He said
He
the same
literally-
thing about you.
listen,
You're a Joe Biden
This
supporter.
guy had a brainworm die of starvation in his head. Okay,
listen, a brainworm.
a brainworm die of starvation in his
I
head.
don't even want to fucking
okay,
go on RFK.
I
I want to
don't-
stick
okay,
to the
listen.
fucking Ukraine shit. okay. All right, so
yeah.
the reason why, you said the reason why you think he invaded.
He had a leader that died that got kicked out that he supported, and now he was ass man. So he goes.
Can
into
you prove that
Crimea.
for a fact?
Well, yeah, Yanukovych fled after
You don't
the.
have that video of Putin, like, he's always said this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw this, but he's always warned NATO,
Yeah.
if Ukraine becomes or wants to become
There was never a
part of
conversation
NATO,
about Ukraine joining NATO. It wasn't even a thing.
There was an agreement for decades.
No.
Yeah.
That's why the invasion happened after Yanukovych fled. He left, and 2014, and then that's when
But
Crimea got taken over.
Zelensky was already president, right?
No,
Yeah,
this is in
exactly.
2014 is when Russia came in and they took over the peninsula, the Crimean
Yeah,
Peninsula.
2 years ago. Okay.
Я хочу еще раз все-таки подчеркнуть это. Я говорил, но мне очень бы хотелось, чтобы вы меня услышали все-таки в конце концов. И донесли это до своих читателей,
Should we,
зрителей
like,
и
speak
пользователей
this,
в
or-
интернете.
I can see it.
Но вы понимаете или нет, что если Украина будет в НАТО и военным путем будет возвращать себе Крым, европейские страны автоматически будут втянуты в военный конфликт с Россией. Конечно, значит, потенциал объединенной организации НАТО и России несопоставим. Мы понимаем. Но мы также и понимаем, что Россия одна из ведущих ядерных держав, а по некоторым компонентам по современности даже многих опережает. Победителей не будет. И вы окажетесь втянутыми в этот конфликт помимо своей воли. И вы даже не успеете глазом моргнуть, когда будете исполнять пункт 5 Римского договора. Господин президент, конечно, не хочет этого развития. И я не хочу. И я не хочу. Поэтому он здесь и находится, и мучает меня уже 6 часов подряд.
Well, there's older videos too. But it's been well known that if
That's why there
Ukraine
haven't been
wants
a
to
member of
become a
NATO.
part of NATO, it's going to be a problem.
Why
It's
though?
gonna- Because he wants to protect his borders.
No, because he wants to invade and fuck with countries around him. That's
No,
what he
it's
did in
not.
Georgia. He invaded Georgia. He peeled off
It's-
2 territories. He invaded Moldova. In 91, they did that. Georgia was 2008. I don't remember. And now you've got Ukraine a couple years ago where he's doing the exact same thing that he did in Georgia.
Yeah, I believe you, but I think his reason for entering Ukraine is protect his borders.
Bullshit. He's doing it. He's no. First of all, even if that was the reason, you don't get to make that call. You don't get to tell countries around you like, you're not allowed to do what you want because fuck you. I want to
We do
invade
that all the time.
We
United
did
States.
that. Well, we did that in the Cuban missile crisis.
Yeah.
Russia was going to put missiles in Cuba. USA blocked that because we wanted to protect our borders. They're just going to put missiles.
We
in
didn't tell Cuba-
They wanted to put missiles in Cuba so they could hit America.
We didn't dictate Cuban alliances. We just said we don't
Yeah,
want
we didn't
nuclear
dictate-
missiles 100
Exactly.
miles off the coast of
And
Florida.
that
That's a
almost
different.
started-
That's a totally
That was
different
going
thing.
to start a nuclear war.
Yeah.
Russia decided to back off, and it ended that crisis. USA protected their borders. Russia can protect their borders.
Russia's not protecting their borders. They're invading another country and stealing territory. Russia already has Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, 3 NATO
I get
aligned
that.
countries that are already on the border
get
of
that.
Russia. That so the idea that they need to invade Ukraine because they can't have a NATO country on their border. One, Ukraine is. We're not talking, or in the past, we weren't talking about Ukraine joining NATO. They never had a direct path, a member ascension plan or whatever to NATO. That wasn't even on the table. The reason why they invaded them is because they didn't want them to be part of the European Union's trade market. They wanted to keep them as part of their economy. That's
Right.
why. That's it. That's why they
So
invaded in
you don't
2014.
think he's taking a tactical position to preserve his borders of his country?
No, because he's not, because NATO doesn't invade Russia. NATO doesn't fight nuclear powers. We don't do that. We're not gonna invade, because if we were going to, we can just do it through the fucking border. We're the United States. We do whatever the fuck we
We
want.
blew up his fucking pipeline. Why wouldn't NATO invade Russia?
Because that's not in Russian territory.
So, from Putin's standpoint, he wants to protect his citizens, his country.
His
That's-
citizens are never getting invaded. If anything, having Ukraine being in NATO would probably provide more defense for Russia, because Ukraine is never doing shit inside Russia if they're part of NATO, because they'll either get kicked the fuck out of NATO or the United States will shut them the fuck down, because now you're part of NATO, and if you attack people, Putin referenced Article 5, if you get attacked as a NATO member, Article 5 means that all the NATO members will
And
come
that's
and
why
help you.
Putin doesn't want Ukraine in NATO.
Yeah, because
And
he
that's
wants to
why
be able
he-
to invade Ukraine and fuck with them. That's what's
No,
happening. That's
he wants to
exactly what's
protect it-
happening.
He wants to protect his border.
Protect from what?
Missiles.
NATO doesn't shoot missiles into Russia
Since when?
since the advent
How
of
do you know-
Russia,
how do
or
you
since
know
the advent of
that's
NATO.
not- how do you know that's never going to happen?
If it is going to happen, Ukraine is not a big factor in it. We don't need Ukraine to invade Russia.
He saw what we did in Israel.
That's not
It's the
related
same,
to
it's the same
anything.
thing.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's the same thing. He's just trying to protect his country.
No.
That's the way I see it.
How is invading Ukraine protecting his country?
Because he's got a buffer zone between him and NATO.
He already has countries bordering him that are
He
in
wants-
NATO.
I'm just telling you
Putin
what he
wants more
said.
countries.
Yeah, I know what he said. That's probably
He
right.
wants
You
that
don't believe
buffer zone.
Fauci. You don't believe Biden, but you believe fucking Putin. What the fuck?
I don't believe anybody.
Oh, well, you're believing
I
Putin.
just
Well, let's
tell
look
you-
at what Putin says, and let's think about what's actually happening here.
try to-
He's invaded Moldova. That's why Transnistria.
I
He says
agree with
he
you.
invaded Georgia,
I
and he
agree
peeled
with
off territories there, Southwest Asia and Ashgabat or whatever the fuck. And now he's invading Ukraine, and he's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
This is for his defense?
I
No, it's
agree
not.
with
It's because he wants to invade countries to
But
fuck
of
with
course it
him.
is. But he says it's for his defense.
Yeah, that's the propaganda line. Yes.
No. He decides what he wants to do for his country. If he feels that
That he can
makes his
invade
country-
other people and take their territory?
well, he's made it known if you invade Ukraine, it's a problem for me in Russia.
Yeah, but Ukraine wasn't joining NATO. That wasn't happening.
They're joining NATO now.
No, they're not. No, there's not.
Yes, they are.
I promise there's not.
So you deny the fact that Ukraine wants to join NATO?
No. They want to join NATO.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they got invaded by fucking Russia. Yeah.
No, before they even went down, there was in talks.
There have been talks. They've always been shot down because we knew it would cause too much instability for them to actually join.
I think the real reason
what
why...
instance?
I think
Russia, right?
Because Russia would be ass mad about it.
Yeah.
I think the real reason...
You denied that, though.
No. I'm not denying that they might have been ass mad about it, but that's not the reason why they invaded. They invaded because of their leader left. No, because Ukraine was never joining NATO. It wasn't going to happen. In order for you to join NATO, every single member has to sign off on it.
But you denying the fact that Ukraine is in bed with the United States. We supply them with weapons, missiles, tanks.
Yeah.
We supply them with all this. Why don't you think Putin will have a reasonable expectation if I don't invade Ukraine, then they're going to be able to turn Ukraine into an ally of the United States?
Why we're only supplying them with all this shit because Putin invaded. If you hadn't invaded, this wouldn't be happening.
We wasn't giving them missiles, anything before that?
Before 2014, I don't know what our military gives. Probably not that much. No.
Yeah, we supplied them well. The main reason why I think Putin invade, he wants to protect his borders, which I understand you deny that, but they're in bed with the United States, and Putin sees that as a severe aggression to Russia.
Okay. I mean, I'm just going by like what happened historically. In 2014, the leader that he supported got kicked out of the country when a bunch of cops started shooting and killing civilians. After that happened, he invaded Crimea. And we can make up weird stories about NATO, but NATO was not on the table for Ukraine at that point. That's not what the conversation was about. The conversation was about joining the European Union or joining the Russian customs union with Belarus. Like that was the conversation on the table, and then they rejected that, and then he invaded. And now he's like, well, NATO can't blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he doesn't want them to be part of NATO because he wants to be able to bully the fuck out of them with his military.
Yeah, I think that let me say this, and you tell me what you think.
Okay.
I think the main reason why what's going on in Israel and Ukraine is because poor leadership, and then the United States has broken promises with Russia.
What promises?
To not get in bed with Ukraine.
No,
NATO and that whole thing. Yeah.
The 2014, the United States was not in bed.
Yeah, but it's real easy for United States, Fox News, CNN, to say, "Oh, Russians." Putin's a killer. Oh, he's a mass murderer.
Because he obviously is, right?
He might be. But I
don't
believe...
States says too. We dropped a bomb on Japan and killed 300,000 people.
Yeah,
we're all murderers and killers. Everyone.
80 years ago.
Yeah,
the world changes. It does matter.
The United States of America have killed way more people. We're the biggest terrorists in the world.
We move through time. And things change as time evolves, right? We're not going to say that, like, because we did some things because we had a certain foreign policy during the Cold War, which, by the way, the Soviet Union did as well. We live by those same standards. Like foreign policy and everything changes over time. The way that we conduct warfare and the things that we're involved in change over time.
Yeah, but it doesn't give you the opportunity to go back on promises.
Yeah, but I don't think that we've gone back on promises for Russia. Or what is the promise we've gone back on?
We're in bed with Ukraine.
Ukraine going into NATO.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's been seriously on the table. They wanted to join, but it's
when everybody gets fucking nuked, you're going to know why. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good argument for me to take then, because if we get fucking nuked, you'll never be able to say I told you so. So fuck you, okay?
No, I'm going to call you. Hey, I'm still alive.
Yeah, as the bomb is coming in.
The nukes is going to hit in 3 minutes. So you fucking Dick Jordan, they don't know. Look what the fuck's happening. Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was pretty understood that what Putin wanted. That's why he invaded.
I think he just wants to exert control over his border partners and bully the fuck out of them, because that's what he's done.
Or protect his people.
I don't think he cares about his people that much. If he was, I don't think he'd be doing this war right now.
Yeah.
I don't think... You think Ukraine's going to win this war?
Or is it winnable?
Depends on what you mean by winning.
Yeah.
I mean, the Crimea is almost certainly never coming back. What happens in the Donbass is hard to say.
You know what I think is going to happen? It's going to turn into the next Israel. It's just going to be an everlasting war.
Probably not.
And we're wasting billions of dollars.
We got to support Ukraine. Russia can't be allowed to invade countries and take fucking territory. That's wild. In this day and
Israel
age,
did it.
When?
Israel?
That's the
same shit.
It's not the same shit. That's a conflict. That's a conflict that has existed for 80 years.
Jews, let's look at all this land. We just gotta get rid of these damn Palestinians.
Listen, in 1991, Ukraine and a whole bunch of other things broke off from the Soviet Union, And everybody around the world recognized everybody's borders. In 91, we all did that with Ukraine. In 94, there was another set in Budapest. People signed 3 different memorandums between 3 different countries, one of them being Ukraine, where we said, Ukraine, give your nuclear weapons, that stockpile, give it all back to Russia, and we promise we won't invade you, okay? Like, and Ukraine gave all their fucking weapons back to Russia, and then here we are, 20 years after the 94 Budapest memorandums, you get the invasion of Crimea, and then, 8 years later, we got the invasion of Ukraine, and I was like, well, fuck me. I guess the only way now, like, if anything, what is the message that Russia sends to the world? You need nukes or you need to be part of NATO. That's why people that traditionally wouldn't have joined, like fucking Sweden, are now part of fucking NATO, right? You've got a revitalization of people caring about NATO because now you better believe those Baltics are like, damn, I sure am glad I'm in fucking NATO because fuck me, I would have been Ukraine next.
Do you
right?
think it's a possibility that I'm wrong?
Sure.
Right? Do you think it's a possibility that you're wrong?
About what?
About what's going on in Ukraine.
Like in terms of why Russia invaded?
Yeah.
I mean, it's always possible. There could be a ton of uncovered facts that come out, or there could be a ton of things that I'm not aware of, or maybe it comes out that the United States was directly
This is how wars
involved
happen. We're not listening to each other. So we start fucking shooting each other. I think there's poor leadership in Ukraine, and that's what started this.
Not the guy that fucking invaded the country. Why wouldn't we give any credit? Why not? Why wouldn't we? It's so crazy. Whenever Russia comes in, okay, like a guy will walk into a room with a fucking machete and chop a dude's head off, and we're like digging through this guy's Facebook profile to see if he said something to piss the guy off. They just chopped his fucking head off. Russia invaded Ukraine for no good casus belli. He had no good reason for it. He invaded Ukraine, and we're like, well, 8 years later, there's this clip of him talking about NATO, and he's trying to say that he wants to protect his people, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, the motherfucker invaded a country, started a war, is taking territory. It's unacceptable. You can't do that.
He's already...
Yeah, you can. Israel did it.
No, they did. That started 100 fucking years ago.
So
Israel never said, okay, Palestinians, we recognize these borders. That never fucking happened. And the Palestinians said, we want to kick every single fucking Jewish guy out of here. Get him the fuck out. Ukraine never said, we're going to kick all the Russians. We're going to invade Russia. And Russia never said, and Russia did tell Ukraine, we recognize your borders. It's a totally different situation.
I have a friend. He's from Ukraine.
Okay.
And
he works at the bank.
Well, giving out too much information.
All right, he's Jewish?
No, he's Ukrainian.
I don't think so.
Oh, you said he worked at the bank. My bad. Okay.
And a majority of Ukrainians are strongly opposed to Ukraine.
The people that live in Ukraine to the left, the ones closest to the border of Russia, I guess it's Crimea.
They don't like them. A majority of people.
They're pro-Russian. Yeah. The far left part
east
of
side
Ukraine. Yeah. The west side of Ukraine is like Ukraine.
Yeah, and a lot of Nazis.
And he think that what's going to happen is to make both sides happy, they're going to form a new Ukraine. It's going to be smaller, and he's going to still have this buffer zone that's Crimea. From
that's what Putin wants. That's what he did in Moldova. That's what he did in Georgia. That's what he wants to do in Ukraine.
What do you think is the reason he might do that?
Gives him more control, the ability to exert influence over countries and fuck with them.
Or he wants to protect his borders.
Because his border, NATO is not a threat to Russia.
Yeah.
NATO is never attacking or bombing. Yeah, I do say that. Yeah, I do say that.
Putin sees it differently.
No, he doesn't. He's not stupid. Putin doesn't see it.
How do you know that?
Because if he really did believe that, in that last video that we saw, Putin was saying, you guys know, the reason why they conduct war the way they do, why they go in and they start those little civil wars, is they know that now that there are little wars going on, Ukraine cannot join NATO. Because if Ukraine did join NATO, then all of NATO is going to come in and fight us. So we know now that's why they conduct war the way that they do. They peel off territories because now there's contested, disputed territory. So either one of two things can happen, right? Okay, you came into my basement and now I'm going to form an alliance with my neighbor. Well, if I form the alliance with my neighbor, one of two things has to happen. Either one, I have to say, okay, you're going to form an alliance with me. My basement's not part of my house, though, okay? So we're cool, and I lose my fucking basement, okay? Or two, you're going to form an alliance with me. There's somebody in my basement right now, so we form this alliance. You got to come right the fuck now and kick this guy out of my basement, right? Putin knows that Ukraine can't join NATO, and that's why he said in there, if Ukraine is allowed to join NATO, you guys have to trigger Article 5 and fight us right the fuck now. And we got nukes. That's not going to end well for anybody. If it was the case that NATO wanted to fight Russia, that argument wouldn't make any sense. Because we would just say like, okay, well, we want to fight you anyway. We want to fuck with you anyway. So Ukraine's going to join NATO and then we're going to come fight with you. But Putin knows that NATO doesn't want to fight with Russia. That's why he can make that argument. Does that make sense?
Nope. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
If NATO wants to fight Russia, then they would just say, Ukraine, come in and let's fight Russia. But the fact that we don't let them in NATO when they're fighting Russia is proof that we don't want to fight Russia. It's like, I think pretty obvious.
I mean, we're in a proxy war with Russia.
Yes. Proxy wars are good, though.
Yeah.
I mean, but still, we're willing to go that far. Putin sees it as aggression. And, I mean, we saw that video. There's countless videos of him on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he's always saying, this is like 10 years old.
Sure.
Him stating, Ukraine, if it ever comes to the fact that they're trying to join NATO, it's going to be a problem. I will invade.
Of course. Yeah.
So
So we all know that. We all know that. NATO knows that. That's why we don't invade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Proxy wars are good because it shows that like we don't want to fuck with each other directly, so we just do it with like side
Mm-hmm.
shit because we don't actually want to get like proxy wars are good because it shows that the both powers don't want to blow the fucking world up. If Russia started to launch attacks against actual NATO countries, well, now we're in a really weird spot because you don't want to do. You want to go to direct war. Now shit is super fucked.
It
But-
could get there, I think.
But so far, nobody wants that to happen.
Yeah.
That's why Putin is saying, like, listen, you can't have Ukraine join because we're all going to be fighting if that happens. And we know that we're like, yeah, fuck, we don't want to do that. But if we did want to do that, if that was our goal all along, then we just say, oh, well, fuck it. We want to fuck you up anyway. But I don't think NATO is ever going to be attacking Russia. That's just not NATO's job. It's a defensive alliance, right?
Yeah. It's supposed to be a coalition of countries to fight communism. Stuff that like.
Well, now it's just
what
defensive. Now, if
Hitler-
you're in NATO, you don't get fucked with because if somebody attacks you, you're probably going to be wiped off the face
It's
of the
prevent
earth.
another Hitler from.
Or anything, anybody.
Yeah.
You just don't want to attack. Yeah. But hey, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I leave my cell phone turned on and off the
So-
line or whatever when I see the nukes flying, so I don't get your fucking call.
So what do you think about Trump?
Why you don't like? Why
don't you like
Why
that?
would you vote for Biden over Trump?
Well, I said I like Biden's foreign policy better. I like
We're in fucking all these wars. And you love his foreign policy. But anyway, go
If you want to get through all the foreign policy, we can walk through it. But Trump didn't do anything to help any of these fucking situations, okay? He's like planting the seeds and like fucking with He's kicking the can on the road and
like
everything.
The border. The border was pretty much solved. It wasn't an issue.
Yeah, because he had Title 42. It was fucking COVID. He can say there's a COVID lockdown emergency, so I have to say no to every single motherfucker coming to the border.
No, but
now, when you go to the border,
Mm-hmm.
when you go to the border, you walk up to the agent and he's like, "Gotcha, bitch," and you're like, "Actually, I want to do asylum." And you're like, "Fuck." And now you have to let him in. Yes, that is exactly what's happening. That's why. No, I'm serious. That's how. That's why our shit. That's why they say like 90.
Trump.
Like when you get the people coming to the border, there's a historic high 92% catch rate. It's not because they've gotten really good at catching them. It's because all you have to do is walk up to the border guard. He's like, "I want to do asylum," and then now you got to process
Let me say this.
Yeah.
I don't like Biden's border policy because when Trump was in office, right, they was going to build a wall, which is not going to prevent all illegal immigrants coming into your country, but it's a tool to help.
Well, not right now. It won't. No.
Yeah, it's just a tool.
It's not even a tool.
Yeah,
because
it's a
right now
tool.
the issue is not people sneaking into the country.
Well-
The people are asylum seekers.
Well,
That's the
tell
big issue.
Israel to knock that fucking wall down.
Yeah, that big ass dome, tell them to knock it down.
It doesn't work. Walls work.
Palestinians
They're
don't.
not 100%
A
effective.
Palestinian can't walk into Israel and say, "I want to claim asylum. Let me live here." That's
No,
what's happening
he
right
flew
now in the United
over
States.
damn wall. He still flew in. If they didn't have that wall, they wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
How do you think most of the October 7th attackers got in? They fucking tore down the wall and they walked the fuck into Israel. It was like 7 dudes in the fucking paraglider machine.
I don't
and it was
think
like
they didn't
500
turn
dudes.
down the wall.
Well, yes, they
Wait a minute,
did.
wait a minute,
There's
wait a minute,
fucking video.
wait a
No,
minute.
wait, Jamie,
No,
pull up the
no.
fucking video of the guys literally fucking tearing down the wall to come on October 7th.
let me say this.
Yeah.
If there wasn't a wall there,
Uh-huh.
Israel would not be there.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the United States.
No, if there
we
wasn't a
would-
wall, then the Palestinians wouldn't be there. Realistically, okay?
Well, I put it. Let's get back.
Walls don't work.
No, I think walls. Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying, please, okay?
Okay, good.
Walls are helpful to prevent people.
That's what I said.
No.
It's a
You're not
tool.
understanding.
That's totally what
No,
he said.
but it's not.
What's going on?
Look, there they are. Look at them.
What's that?
That's one of the walls leading out of Gaza.
Oh, the okay.
Yeah, they're tearing it down. Look at them go.
Yeah, it was keeping them out.
What?
That wall sucks. Did you see the Trump wall?
Yeah, okay, well, they build tunnels under these, so why build the wall that big? They're just going to crawl under it anyway.
The better the wall, the more effective.
Listen. Walls are helpful.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I agree with you.
I agree with you.
No!
Walls
I agree with
work.
you.
Let me
Walls
finish
help.
my fucking sentence. Fuck! Okay, the wall is helpful for people that are trying to sneak across the border.
Right.
The big issue that we have right now is not that people are sneaking across. It's that they can go to a border agent and claim asylum. That's the big issue.
But the
Wall
issue-
won't help with that because
Right.
they just walk up to a guard and say, like, "I claim asylum,
You're
let me in."
absolutely right. But when Trump was office, he had a catch in not releasing the country. They had to stay in Mexico. And
They
wait
had to
for that
remain.
trial.
Yeah, they did have the remain in Mexico,
Biden
which
is
helped a little
catch-
bit. But the big thing that Trump had that helped him so much was for Title 42 because of COVID. What Donald Trump could say is, "Listen, I don't give a fuck who you are, what you want, or what you're doing. If you come to our border in the country, port of entry, between whatever the fuck, we are turning you back because there is a national emergency because of COVID." Biden can't use that tool anymore. They tried to bring it back, but they can't. But that tool allowed him to shut down everybody trying to get out of the country.
He could still reinstate Trump's policies.
You
in
can do
another
kind of
country.
remain in Mexico, but the problem is there's a lot of challenges to that, both internationally and domestically, and it's hard to know if it survives like legal scrutiny. But what really needs to happen is we just have to find better ways of doing the asylum shit. We tried to pass a big bill on it, but Donald Trump told people in Congress, the Republicans, don't approve this bill because then I'm not going to have anything to run an election over. But that's what has to change. It's not that you can build a wall if you want. I don't give a fuck. You want to build a wall, it's fine. But the big problem with the asylum seekers, we have no way of dealing with it right now. There's a huge backlog of cases. We don't have judges. We don't have like border agents to like process all these people. And too many people are allowed to just come in and say like, I claim asylum. And as long as you have like any remotely credible claim, they let you in, and then you get a ticket and you get to wait for your fucking court case. It's fucked.
Exactly. I bet you over 90% of these people that are seeking asylum, they don't meet the qualifications to seek
Maybe,
asylum.
yeah. It's possible, yeah. But the problem is right now the laws on the book say that you're not allowed to determine that until they go to court, which is what's fucking everything
So why
up.
would we catch them and release them into the country?
And just do what Trump was doing. Keep them in Mexico till their cases are adjudicated.
That's what I'm hung up on.
Yeah, I think that remain in Mexico might be a better policy. The only issue is that when you're talking about people seeking asylum, there are like international regulations about how you're supposed to deal with these people. And if the United States starts to say like, well, we're not going to let people in that are claiming asylum, then there's a question of whether or not there could be international legal challenges, or even domestically people will take it to court and challenge it, which gets like complicated.
Well, I would say let them go through the legal process because
No,
right
you
now,
can't say that because that's what they are doing right now. They're going through the legal process.
It's not sustainable.
There's
There's always going to be a backlog of cases.
Yeah, but that's because the legal process right now says if you come in and claim asylum, then they have to process you in a court system. So they'll give you a ticket, and then you just are supposed to show up at your court date.
You think they'll show up?
I don't know if the percentage of people will show up. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of them don't, though. I mean,
And
why the fuck
you're
would you?
happy with Biden?
Dude, 0% of them going to show up.
Well, no, I'm not happy with it now. But I mean, what the fuck can you do? They tried to pass a bill that would have changed a lot of this, and Republicans shut it down because they said.
But Republicans and Democrats, they both play that game. I don't trust.
Well, hold on,
anything.
wait. If you want to generalize it, or whatever, you can or make it. But I'm just saying that we had a good bill that would have capped. So, like, for instance, Republicans say this last bill would have let 5,000 people a day in. Bullshit. It capped it at 5,000 because we have days where over 10,000 people come. But we
Over 50,000.
Yeah. So the last bill would have capped it. So at 5,000 a day, we could have literally said no to fucking everybody. Like we had our cap for today. Stay back. Come back tomorrow. Okay.
Fuck off with
Yeah,
four.
they tried to do that. They tried to staff more of the asylum people. They tried to change some of the like level of credibility to claim asylum. But the Republicans shot this bill down. So what the fuck do? You have to wait till you have more Democrats in Congress, I guess.
I think our border should be just like Israel's border.
Yep.
If Israel can do it, the United States can do it.
Yeah. Is that too much to ask?
Isn't our border a lot fucking bigger?
So we're America. We're funding all these parts wars. We can build a fucking wall on our southern border. Our border should just be like Israel because it's a national security issue. And plus, all these people, they don't meet the requirements to seek asylum.
Sure.
And I think Biden's doing a horrible job with that.
Well, you can
Republicans haven't done a horrible job with it. Trump was the first president to actually do something about the border.
Yeah, but Trump is the one that blocked the legislation that would have fixed a lot of these fucking problems. Trump literally
blocked it.
Yes. He was literally telling Republicans in Congress, do not vote for this bill. And literally on video talking about it, where Trump said, do not vote for this bill. We need this to be an open border issue so that when I run for president, I can have this as an issue that I can fight over. And they blocked the legislation on it. You can find videos of them talking about Republican stuff.
That's good politics.
That's fine, but it's bad for America. If you want to say it's good politics,
It's horrible for America, but that's
then
where
don't
we're
blame
at.
fucking Biden for it. Blame fucking Trump for
Look
it.
how they impeached Trump twice.
Yeah.
That's Trump's fault.
No, it's because they had the votes.
Yeah.
He didn't actually do anything wrong.
Really?
They
You
had
don't
the
think
votes.
calling
Look,
Zelensky
let
and
me
saying, like,
say
can
this.
you research my political
wait.
opponent's
Oh my
fucking son?
God.
You don't think that's a little bit of an inappropriate thing for a president of the United States to be doing?
To be impeached?
To call another leader and say, listen, I know that we congressionally approved all this aid for you, but I'm just curious, can you find anything on my opponent's son? Because, that would be helpful for me and it'd be in your best interest to do. You don't think that's a fucked up thing for a president of the United States to
What
do?
did Biden say?
If you
When he
don't-
was vice president.
If you don't fire that son of a bitch, I'm going to keep this $1 billion.
What did
Yes.
Biden say?
But the reason why Biden was able to say that is because that
No, you got to hold them to the both the same
No,
standard.
hold on. It is the same standard. Money was being made available to Ukraine contingent upon them cleaning up a lot of their stuff. And a lot of their stuff had to do with their prosecutorial systems. Why do you think Biden was able to say that statement on stage and not a single fucking person question it? Because that was the policy of the United States. If you wanted access to this money, you had to clean up a lot of the stuff going on with your prosecutorial body. And Shogun was a big part of that. Nobody liked him in Europe. Nobody liked him in fucking Ukraine. Nobody liked him in the U.S. And if you want that money that we promised you, if you want that money, part of it is contingent on you cleaning your shit up. There was no part of the congressionally approved aid that went to Ukraine that was contingent on them investigating Hunter Biden's cockpicks.
Wait a minute. So when Donald Trump got on the phone with Zelensky and wanted him to look into Joe Biden's son,
He didn't withhold anything.
He threatened to.
There was no quid pro at all.
Well, he threatened
Biden
it.
had, Well, there was no quid pro quo.
That doesn't matter. If I blackmail you, but I don't actually do it, it doesn't mean I'm innocent.
Biden did it on stage.
Yes, because he was representing the United States.
Yeah, he said, you're not getting the money.
Yes.
Joe Biden impeached Trump for doing that, but he never did it.
Joe Biden was representing the U.S. interest, and Donald Trump was representing Donald Trump's interest.
No,
Joe Biden was doing it for the West and for the United States. Donald Trump was doing it for the Donald Trump election campaign. Yes.
You don't think Joe Biden had a special interest to take care of his son?
I don't think that's just never been proven to be the case.
He was working on a company in Ukraine.
Yeah, he was. I'm aware of all of. Yes, there was a company called Burisma. That investigation had died years earlier.
They fired the prosecutor that was investigating that.
It wasn't even being investigated. There were tons of investigations that had been dropped on this. Yes, Shokin was investigating Burisma. That investigation had been dead for years.
Steven, come on, man. You fucking serious?
You don't think Joe Biden's son got that job because who his daddy was?
Yeah, that's how you sit on boards. It's because of your connections. Yeah, of course.
So when the vice president has his son working the country and he had the privilege of getting a job because of who his daddy was, and then when your dad's on stage saying those things, you don't think that should be investigated?
Yeah, his dad was
You can investigate it. They did. They found nothing.
No, he said, if you don't fire that prosecutor that's investigating my son's company, you're not getting $1 billion.
No, it was if you don't fire this prosecutor, it's one of the most corrupt prosecutors in the history of fucking Ukraine. That every single person.
Bring that video up, man. That was quid pro quo. The money was already promised to the
money. The contingency of the money had to do with Ukraine. That was why those loans and that money was being given to them, was on the contingent that they cleaned up a lot of the.
That's what Trump was trying to clean up. He said, "Can you look into this issue for me
about my political rival's son?"
Yeah, why not?
Because he's not looking out for the United States interest. If that was the case, then hold on. If that was the case, why didn't Trump say it on stage like Biden did? Why did he do it on a phone call?
He did it on a phone call.
Yeah, but
did you
do it on
stage?
We saw a bunch of recordings and transcripts of it, or transcripts of it.
Okay,
and people
this is what Biden said.
I guess the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was 6 hours. I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
He literally says it in the video.
He doesn't determine what's solid.
He literally does.
The Ukrainian government, the Ukrainians should decide what is solid.
No, they're getting loan guarantees from us. They're not entitled to U.S. money. Those guarantees were, and he says it in the video. He says that we'd already called them 12 or 13 times. Is every single deal a quid pro quo? If I go to Walmart and I give the guy $10 for some Hershey bars, am I getting a quid pro quo from Uncle fucking
Steven,
Walton? Is that a quid pro quo?
I'm using that same language y'all used for Trump. It was quid pro quo, and that's why he was
The problem
impeached.
wasn't that it was a quid pro quo. The problem is that he wasn't representing U.S. interests. He was doing something behind the scenes in a subversive manner for a quid pro quo. That was the issue.
What did Trump do?
Trump was threatening to withhold congressionally approved aid to Ukraine.
He never said that.
He did.
He said, would you do me a favor? I'm going to get you your money, you motherfuckers. But can you
investigate my political rival's child?
Okay.
It's a lot different than Biden saying we're guaranteeing a loan, but that's only if you clean up your shit, and you haven't cleaned it up yet. And that's why he even says in the video, they say like, well, you don't have the authority to do that. The president does. He said, well, call him. Because the president did have the authority to withhold that. And obviously Biden is there representing Obama's interests. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you got?
Okay. Look. Okay, I totally understand your perspective.
All right.
I don't agree with it, but I totally understand.
Okay.
Now, after you having said all that, Trump's trials, are they persecuting him? Are they meddling in our election? He's Joe Biden's number one rival. Now, if you're going to hold Trump accountable for that, can you hold Joe Biden accountable for what's going on with this charade against Donald Trump?
What charade? Which one?
There's a whole bunch of them. Let's talk about Horseface.
Which one is that? Brad?
That's the porn star. He got.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a New York State case.
Yeah.
So I am not aware of any communication that Biden is telling them to prosecute Trump.
You don't think he has anything to do with it?
You don't think? I mean, like that's an extraordinary claim. I would need some kind of evidence for it.
That's an extraordinary claim.
That a sitting U.S. president is ordering a state DA or a state prosecuting attorney to go after a political rival. That's a huge. That would be like one of the largest U.S. scandals of all time.
To that same standard when he made that phone call.
What is the standard?
Investigate your political rival's son working for a company in Ukraine.
Yeah. They're doing the exact same thing to Trump.
I'm not aware of any phone call between. If Biden made a phone call to New York State to Braggs or anybody else, and was like, "Hey, can you investigate Donald Trump? I need you to take care of this guy." Then I would say, "Yeah, that's really bad."
You thought that phone call was Zelensky? You thought that was impeachable?
I
think it was a piece of power. Same thing. When they tried to impeach Bill Clinton for having sex with Monica. That relationship.
Well, he's getting sucked off.
Yeah.
I have to go back and look at that, but wasn't he impeached for perjuring himself? Isn't it because he lied under oath?
Yeah, the House found him, but he wasn't impeached. They didn't have the numbers. But I thought the Republicans who was pushing that, I think that's abuse of power. That's between him and his wife.
Well, but it's not. If you perjure yourself, you're lying under oath. That's a significant.
Getting your dick sucked?
Yeah, you got to give him a pass on that.
It's the problem is, what if somebody bad finds out about that and now they've got you compromised?
How you compromised? You just got sucked off.
But I know that you lied to your wife about getting sucked off.
No, he probably already told her. She probably
I know you're lying about the country about getting sucked off. If I know that you're lying about it, I can use that lie to fuck with you, right?
Nobody gives a shit.
Their perjury is a crime in the United States. You shouldn't.
Yeah, it is a crime.
What the fuck you want to say?
But it seems like nobody on the left is held accountable for it.
I feel like we hold ourselves accountable a million times. Look at the fucking Santos guy. How long did it take to get rid of this motherfucker? That was wild. The George Santos guy?
Yeah,
that was
the guy from New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone.
Donald Trump lies like fucking all the fucking time about fucking everything, and that dude is still running okay.
I think politicians lie.
Not the same way. Not as much
Politicians
as
lie all the time.
Do you think they all lie equally? They all lie the same?
I think they all lie, but I think Democrats are really horrible in their lies. It's like
why did we go to Iraq? Who was that? Was that a Democrat or a Republican?
He said he was Republican. I don't think he was a Republican.
Oh, so they're bad. If they become bad, they become Democrats. Well, in that case, I agree that
that was totally wrong with Iraq. That was all bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether it was I think Republicans and Democrats voted for that war.
Sure, but it was a Republican president.
Yeah, but
in name only.
If Congress doesn't vote for it,
yeah,
they don't go to war.
Okay.
The president has no say so in it. So Democrats and Republicans vote.
Yeah. I think what they did to Trump, I think that was totally uncalled for. I think they was trying to overturn out of them. They say it all the time about Republicans. Oh, this is a threat against democracy. I think you can say the Democrats are doing the exact same thing.
So do you think Russia helped Trump win the election?
Yeah, probably. But it depends on what you mean when you say helped. I don't think they changed any votes.
Yeah, what was the evidence?
The strongest stuff would have been laid out in the Mueller indictments where they discovered
nothing.
Those indictments had a lot of information.
Like what?
So there was a company called the Internet Research Agency that was controlling a ton of different large accounts in the United States and was controlling a ton of smaller accounts in the United States that was operated completely from the Kremlin, that they thought in the U.S. they presented themselves as being from the U.S., but they were operating social media in the United States basically to just stir up dissent and to cause people to get upset and angry with. And in that election, it was
social media
Democrats.
post?
Yeah.
So that's not helping you win an election.
So, considering like 92% of Americans get the majority of their information from social media, I would say it absolutely can help you win an election.
Okay,
for
so
sure.
Russia helped. Russia helped.
What they say?
Shut up.
They say Trump colluded with Russia. Where's the evidence that he colluded with Russia?
The evidence that Trump colluded with Russia would have been on probably the strongest to be in the Roger Stone line, that he was like kind of working back and forth with the guy relating to the Guccifer leaks from the DNC. But I mean, I don't know how strong that is. I don't know if I would say like Trump colluded with Russia. Also, when we say that like Russia helped Trump win, I don't necessarily think it's because Russia liked Trump. I think it was just because he was an outsider candidate and they knew they could stir up a lot of shit doing it. I don't know if like Russia was more favorable to Trump necessarily policy-wise than he was for a Democrat. They just like to stir up shit.
So you think, okay, so...
Hold on, but on the flip side, do you think that Russia doesn't meddle in our social media? And are you about to say, I think the U.S.
Twitter, I think everybody meddles in our election.
That was okay, wait. So then you think that Russia did meddle in our...
I don't think so.
Oh, so you don't? So you think the United States does in our own, but Russia didn't?
I don't think they have any influence.
Wait, but hold on. I didn't ask you. Do you think that they create social media accounts and try to stir shit up on
I don't think it would have been beneficial for conservatives.
I'm asking, do you think that Russia was directing social media accounts in the United States to stir shit up?
If you could show me videos, views, I mean, it had to be in the millions, hundreds
So,
of
like,
millions.
for instance, like that, there was an account called 10_GOP that had like over 200,000 followers, I think, on Twitter. And this account was ran by the Kremlin. It was a Russian account. It wasn't the Tennessee GOP. It was just ran by the Kremlin. There were protests that were organized by that IRA. They call themselves the Internet Research Agency. They were organized by the IRA that was run by the Kremlin.
Okay, let's say I agree with you. Let's say Russia mellowed our election, and that's how Trump won. I don't agree with you, but let's say I do. Are you going to hold Facebook and big tech accountable for this last election? Because they censored a lot of things that was detrimental to Joe Biden.
The problem isn't meddling in an election. The problem is lying about and misrepresenting yourself as a non-state entity and then meddling in an election. You have a right as a company to do things relating to advertising or whatever. You don't have a right as a foreign state to lie about where you're from, and that's the crime.
So
if RT in the United States, if Russia today wanted to run ads, RT wanted to run ads saying fuck Biden, fuck this guy, like Trump is better, blah blah blah. That's within their right. They can do that. But if they lie and they say like, oh, we're actually America today and we're blah blah blah, like you don't have.
So
a
a
right to
foreign
do that. That's
nation
the crime.
can't do it, but
a foreign nation can't misrepresent themselves into it.
But
that was the big issue.
But a private entity can?
As long as they're not misrepresenting themselves, yes.
But why did Democrats spin it and say Trump colluded with Russia? They worked together so he could win the election.
Because that whole dossier was fake, right?
The whole dossier was not fake.
I mean, where's the evidence of him colluding with
I don't know
Russia?
if there was strong evidence of him colluding
There
with
was
Russia.
no evidence.
Well, you can't say there was no evidence. He's on TV saying if Russia finds the emails, they'll be rewarded greatly. And he has people in his campaign staff that are working with Russia. Manafort was literally thrown in prison for stuff that he was doing in Ukraine.
Come on, man. Where is the evidence he colluded with Russia? If y'all actually had that, y'all could have actually removed him from office.
He'd be in prison for life.
Sure. I don't think there was strong evidence he colluded with Russia. That's not a thing that I push.
There's
more evidence that Trump colluded with Russia, though, than there are that vaccines cause mass injuries. You guys believe that. So I mean, like, what do you want to? I mean, what do you want to do?
You like to conflate shit.
I'm not conflating shit. I'm just showing you. I'm just showing you the difference in the logic, the standards being applied here.
Let's just stick to one topic.
Trump was never charged with anything relating to like a
there's
collusion
no
thing.
evidence.
So it doesn't seem like there was strong evidence to bring any of those charges or indictments.
It was all bullshit.
Can I say something? You're innocent until proven guilty, right?
Yeah, I would say
so. He's innocent.
Of those, I would say he's not. Yeah, but I don't even talk about Russian collusion. Yeah.
Good. We can agree on something.
Okay. There's 91 other or so indictments he's facing, but on the Russia stuff.
Those indictments?
Yeah.
They taking like infidelity and turn them into crimes.
Well, you shouldn't have fucking lied about paying somebody off for it then.
It's probably a accounting error, but I don't think it's a crime.
Not an accounting error. He intentionally lied because it was a campaign contribution that would have been way too big. You're not allowed to take. Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter censored a lot of detrimental stories.
You're allowed to censor shit if you want to as a company. It's a private company.
Not when you're in cahoots with other parties.
You're colluding with your government.
There was no evidence. There was no evidence of them colluding.
We have a First Amendment right.
Hold on, wait. So you don't believe in Russia collusion, but you believe in the government colluding with social media?
I think there's some truth to Russia meddling on election. I don't think it was enough to overturn an election.
I don't think Donald Trump colluded with Russia.
Yeah.
But
he didn't get on the phone, hey, Putin, I need y'all to collude and mess up this damn election so I can win this election.
Probably
I don't
not.
think
I
that
agree
happened.
with that, yeah.
But what Facebook and Twitter did to censor Americans to keep stories down that would obviously hurt Joe Biden in the election. Yeah. And then there's emails from Biden's administration telling Twitter to take down certain tweets, to remove certain posts.
Those tweets were tweets with Hunter Biden's cock in them. They're not trying to censor news stories. They're not trying to censor, like, you can look and go through every single tweet.
The Hunter Biden story.
The laptop story was never directed to be censored by anybody in the White House. That never happened. You can read the Twitter files where they're discussing in the emails for what they should do with it. None of it, but it was censored, but it wasn't because of anything that came from the government. It's because Twitter didn't know if the story was real or not.
You don't think big tech had ulterior motives?
I don't. That's not. If they did, then that has never been shown.
Come on,
never been demonstrated.
Politicians lie all the time.
Yeah, but we got whole leaks from the internal communication of Twitter. None of that ever came out that they were they had some ulterior motive. That's not what the conversations looked like. They looked like they genuinely didn't know what to do with the story because it looked fake as fuck. It did.
And first of all, they said it was fake.
Because it looked fake.
They said it was Russian misinformation. That's what they said.
Okay, this is a quick honesty test, okay? Yeah. Can you admit that is a sensational fucking story that sounds incredibly fake? That Hunter Biden, years ago, dropped a laptop off at a computer tech repairman shop who's fucking blind. Who's fucking blind. And he happened to discover this later and turned it over to Rudy Giuliani? That doesn't sound like a fake fucking story?
Yeah, it sounds fake as fuck.
There we go. Okay,
no,
wait. Okay, hold on.
Hell no, just gonna ruin Joe Biden.
Hold on. So, if it sounds fake, okay, again, remember what I said earlier about COVID and lockdowns and shit?
I wouldn't say it sounds fake. It sounds crazy.
Bullshit. Oh, my God.
It's not fake.
All right.
Come on.
Okay.
Fake.
His son
No.
is a crackhead.
Yeah. I don't
Crackheads do
think
stupid
it's I don't think you say it's saying fake. I think it's extraordinary, and it's very damaging to his political opponent. But nah, I don't think you.
Nah, that whole Russia collusion. Then they called that Hunter Biden laptop store. They said that was Russia collusion.
Right.
It's all bullshit. All these cases against him, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Let's say that was true. Let's say that Twitter censored it because they just wanted to remove it, okay? And they didn't just take it off Twitter for like 1 day, okay?
Mhm.
Why would they just continue to censor it? Why'd they bring it back after like 1 day?
Because it was proven to be true.
But then, no, hold on. If you saying that they censored it
Mhm.
because they knew it was true, but they wanted to hide it, why
Right.
the fuck would they bring it back? Why would they
The
just leave it
election, the
censored?
election was over.
The election was over.
No, hold on. That laptop story was censored for like a day. That wasn't
it
censored
was-
for weeks.
no,
it was like a
removed
day.
permanently.
No, it was not.
It was censored for
For a lot
the
of
entire
conservatives,
election.
That's not true. It was one of the most talked about stories going into the election.
But it was censored by social media.
I don't know about Facebook, but on Twitter, I'm pretty sure it was literally 1 day that they had suppressed that story because they didn't know if it was real or
Man,
not.
Elon Musk wasn't even there yet, man.
I know,
that
but
shit
yeah,
was censored, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All that shit was censored.
Yeah. Right. That's why I brought you on the show, because I want to hear your perspective. I know it's a lot of bullshit on the right,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of bullshit on the left too.
who do you trust at the end of the day? How do you figure out who you trust or not?
Well, I'm going with the white supremacists. When somebody says fires them sons of bitches, that person is not reading from a teleprompter. Everything he comes off is genuine.
Who's not? Wait, who's reading off? Trump reads off a teleprompter. Of course he does.
No, he's talking about
it's
Biden when he
figure
said,
speech. Figure
if you don't fire that son bitch, you're not getting your $1 billion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
On
figure
stage
speech.
representing U.S. foreign policy. Yes.
Yeah, the money's already promised to them.
You don't
it's
think they
contingent on
abused-
them cleaning up their
Yeah,
prosecutorial
but
system.
You don't think Joe Biden and his family abused their power and
I don't
was able
think
to
so.
make
It's
a lot of
possible they
money?
have, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it demonstrate. Not more than fuck. How many? Why does anybody talk about like Kushner?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting that Kushner was like doing $2 billion deals with the Saudis after he was out of office, or the fact that Donald Trump was a billionaire who didn't divest from any of his businesses while in office as president of the United
Yeah,
States?
what did he do wrong, though?
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't you think him being president while owning all of these other?
Well, he was a businessman before he came president.
Yeah, and he's very well
yeah, and he
educated.
was still a business while president. You don't think it's weird? Would you want a guy whose like fortune depends on different countries, like making decisions that might be good or bad for those countries? You don't think it's a little
Was
weird?
that before or after he became President Trump?
He still had all of the
I
properties
mean,
while he was president.
I get what you're saying, but
Sure.
is there any proof of him doing anything that's that,
as much
that puts
proof as there is
national
between
security-
Hunter Biden and Joe
Yeah.
Biden doing anything
Not
bad
like
for
not
national.
for Trump. Like I'm
No,
on
I'm
the
saying
Biden
there is
shit.
as much. I personally don't think there's been strong proof of that.
Yeah,
I don't think
there's
I don't know if
nothing. He's
yeah.
perfect. You didn't know that?
But there's no
He's
proof of
perfect. He's
the
been
Hunter Joe
persecuted.
Biden stuff that's been
Yeah.
fucking investigated out the ass by how many different special counsels and how many different fucking subcommittees and how many different fucking
Yeah.
things. And the most they got on Hunter Biden is
thing I
is
wanna-
giving him a ticket because they had videos of him smoking crack when he had a
Yeah.
gun. Like,
But I strongly believe this: if Joe Biden's not president, his son is not getting those positions. He knows shit about energy.
yeah, but no shit. I'm sure that if
Yeah.
your last name is Clinton, you're probably getting jobs. If your last name is Obama, you're probably getting jobs. Yeah, when you're connected and like super well.
But
yeah,
it's never a conflict until Joe Biden's son was in there.
I don't.
That's the only thing we're aware of, that a family is in
I don't think there was a conflict. But hey, maybe something will finally come out with Hunter Biden being
Yeah.
doing something bad or illegal and
So
like
you
related
think,
to the
So you think Hunter Biden and the Bidens just some noble dudes? Huh?
not noble dudes, but I mean
Yeah.
Joe Biden has been a fucking senator for fucking 900 years. Like I feel like he probably does.
I don't like career politicians.
Okay, well I don't like people that can't be politicians at all. Donald Trump failed fucking miserably for his 4 years. We got no good.
That's a very horrible opinion, don't you think?
Okay,
I mean, it's an opinion, and I
besides
value
tax
opinion.
cuts,
But to say he's horrible,
he didn't get anything fucking done. Even if you like Donald Trump, you should be upset with him. We
Let
didn't
me-
get the wall built.
Listen.
No infrastructure bill.
why
no
didn't he
repeal
get
or
the wall
replace.
bill?
Why the Democrats wouldn't give him the funding
Who
for
fucking
it?
who? I thought he was a leader that could bring everybody together. He had Congress, he had the Supreme Court, he had the presidency. He couldn't get anything fucking done.
But
Why is it going to be different next time?
Because the Democrats.
Why is it? What you
What?
think things are great right now with Biden?
I think that Biden has passed like 4 or 5 massive bipartisan legislators.
No, I'm
How?
talking about for the American people.
Yeah.
Like inflation.
I
the
think
economy.
the CHIPS Act was good. Yeah, I mean, in terms of inflation, all of that, I think there's definitely problems, but a lot of this is residual off of COVID as well. Like, and the lockdowns and like all the crazy like government stimulus and everything that had to go out to keep the economy and people like not starving to death. Like, notice how every time a Democrat has come into office the last 20 years, we've got to deal with the fucking insane shit left to us by the last administration. Obama had to come in and clean up after the fucking 2007 housing crisis. We had Biden have to come in and clean up after the fucking crazy COVID shit that Trump denied until people were dying in the U.S.
So that was Trump's fault, the COVID?
I didn't say it was Trump's fault. I'm just saying that when Democrats come into office, we always have to deal with all this crazy
So
shit.
Trump fucked up COVID.
His response wasn't the best. But it's regardless. I'm just saying that I don't know what a 4 years of Biden looks like without COVID. Everybody will look at Trump and say, we can't count the last year. That's not fair because of COVID. But then when you look at Biden, all of his whole presidency has to come after COVID. The whole fucking world was dealing with it.
Dude, I don't even think he's running his country. He's definitely not on Twitter.
If you want to say he's not running his country, that's fine. But whoever's running is doing a better job than Trump did.
Like how?
Well, we can legislative-wise, Trump did nothing besides tax cuts.
Trump
said he was going to give us infrastructure for 4 years. It never happened.
Okay.
Trump said he was going to get the funding for the wall from Mexico.
What
Never happened.
infrastructure are you talking about?
So the Joe Biden passed the massive bipartisan infrastructure act.
What the fuck's in it though? How does it change?
You could go and break. It was the largest investment in alternative energies ever. It was a huge allotment
energy,
for
like wind and solar.
Yeah, like the solar, like the stuff that's the cheapest form of energy in some states right now that's being allotted to certain grids. Right?
But we're still running on coal and natural.
We have to run a little bit on it. Yeah, of course. No shit.
Yeah.
We're also the largest like exporter and manufacturer of like domestic energy that we ever have been in U.S. history in terms of like refinery and every stuff for fossil fuels here. We had there are like because of the CHIPS Act as well. There's like finally huge manufacturing processing centers that are being built in the United States so we can start to manufacture some fucking computer chips, which was better than Trump just tariffing China.
Yeah, what's up with the pipeline? Why do you think Biden stopped that?
That pipeline was dead even before that pipeline was dead before Trump even came off. That pipeline's been dead. Keystone XL has been dead for a long time. I think it formally got axed under Biden, but that pipeline's been dead forever.
If we would have went through with that, gas price would be a lot cheaper in America.
I don't know how much they'd be impacted right now. I'm not sure. We already producing like more energy domestically, I think, than we have in the history of all the United States. We already are energy independent. We are.
Yeah.
We are.
Why is that gas prices through the roof then?
I don't fucking know. Gas is complicated. Do you think that just because if we would have had just the pipeline, that would have been all of our gas prices coming down?
It would have helped. It would have helped a lot.
It would have helped.
Gas manufacturing is you know that like we don't pull gas out of the ground, right?
No,
like it's crude oil, and then it's got to be refined, and then different products are shipped around to different areas and different stuff. Yeah, right. I don't know how much like more crude. Like we're producing a fuck ton of shit.
You're just gonna bring a bunch of that black shit from Canada into America.
Yeah, but that shit sucks, isn't it? It's like sandy and nasty. You got to like scrub it. Like
all
I'm pretty sure.
No,
that's not true. When you go to Saudi Arabia, you can drink that shit out of the fucking ground. Okay, as a fucking pre-workout.
Some good shit.
Yeah, it's some pure. You take it out, you scrape it, you can fucking ready to go.
Why don't we just get from Russia? Just give us good prices.
From I don't know if the oil in Russia
drove up the prices quite a bit.
I'm pretty sure that don't we get most of it from like Canada and like South America, like Venezuela? I think is sitting on a ton of it.
We was getting it from Russia too.
We might have gotten some of it. I think Europe's more reliant on Russia for energy than the United States.
Yeah, we was getting some Russian oil. I heard that's some good shit.
If you look up like Russian oil or oil imports by country in the United States, I thought like Canada and Venezuela were the two biggest ones. Is it really Russia?
Yeah, we was getting it.
Yeah,
when the war broke out, they stopped. They said, we're not getting any more oil from that killer. So, I was like, he's been a killer for decades, y'all. All of a sudden, you don't want his oil. But
hey, all of a sudden, he started invading countries and taking their fucking territory. So it's not good.
Kept his oil, though, man.
He should have kept his dick in his pants.
Hey, so you don't think it's nothing Trump did right?
There's nothing Trump did right. I mean, I'm sure we could find some things. Like in general, like I do think we need a stronger border policy. I think the idea that we kind of like leave it to whatever, I think is kind of dumb.
You got to give him that. It's so fucked
give
up down
him
there.
something, man.
The problem is that like his approach to the border is like childlike. What we need is like comprehensive border immigration reform, not just like a bigger wall.
But when you say it was childlike, you remember when?
As in, like, we're not doing anything. What about people overstaying visas? That's like 50% of illegals right there. Donald Trump did nothing for that, right?
A majority of the people that's in our country illegally is coming through that southern border. I want to just ask you this. Like when you say Trump did a horrible job, there's nothing you could pick out during his administration. Like he did some reform with convicted felons that were nonviolent that he got released.
Yeah, I think it's called the First Step Act. I think it was probably okay, but I don't know if that actually got funded when they were finally doing the funding for it. I'd have to go back and check that. The First Step Act was probably okay. Yeah. The biggest issue with Trump, and the reason why I say like everything is horrible, is because at the start, I think the most important job of your president is to be like your country's cheerleader. This is the guy that's supposed to represent all of you, bring you together. He is like, when people think of the United States, they think of like the U.S. president. Like, this is our guy that's facing everybody. And I just felt like he was so unbelievably divisive that divisiveness rolled over into every other policy that he wanted to get Like
You
that.
don't think Joe Biden was divisive?
Not even no. I mean, I can point to result. We can all say, and I know you're gonna say, what about the one speech with the red things in the background?
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, that's fine. Donald Trump is literally known for giving his opponents nicknames. Okay,
Yeah.
that's his thing. Sleeping
Yeah.
Joe Biden,
Right.
corrupt Ted Cruz, whatever the fuck. Yeah,
Right.
No, nobody even comes close to Donald Trump's level of debate. Donald Trump is literally on. You guys are talking about like, what if Biden called New York State and told him to prosecute? Donald Trump's literally calling into Fox and Friends saying like, I think the DOJ needs to look into Joe Biden, like literally on public TV.
I think
Okay?
that some of those people that's prosecuting was on his administration.
Who?
The judge, he didn't recuse himself. He was on actual administration.
I don't think he was. It
That's
was
what-
somebody, Laura Loomer, fell for a rumor that the judge's daughter was some activist, but that Twitter account wasn't even that judge's daughter.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the one in New York,
You don't find it's extremely suspicious that Joe Biden's #1 competitor has got over how many indictments against him?
I mean, it looks weird, but also Donald Trump engaged in a lot of ahistoric behavior that was
but it's not a
unfucking
crime
believable.
to bang a prostitute. I mean,
It's not a crime to bang a
infidelity.
prostitute. He's not being charged with banging a prostitute. He's
Well,
being charged
he's-
with lying about record keeping and
How do you lie about it?
by having Cohen, his lawyer, his lawyer say that like, oh, this was like a personal payment that I made to somebody, but it wasn't. It was made on behalf of Donald Trump, which should have been a campaign
Who made
contribution.
the payment?
Donald Trump did. He paid off
Well,
Cohen
first
to
of
make it.
all, we're assuming that he's guilty. We gotta let the legal.
Well, no, these are what he's alleged of
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, he's
But that
saying-
also, this is the weakest case. The Mar-a-Lago documents case is crazy. The Georgia RICO and the federal case about the trying to steal the election, these are crazy cases where the fact pattern is way more damning than the New York one, which I already think is like a decently strong case. But like the other three are unhinged.
Yeah. So you think he's going to be convicted?
Nobody knows at this point. Nobody knows anything because
Hey,
maybe he wins
OJ
the election. Who the fuck
Hey,
knows?
OJ got off. Trump's got a shot.
He does. He's got to beat a lot of them though. OJ only had to beat one case.
So you-
Trump's got 4.
Hey, so you think in the world Biden is seen better than Trump from the world's perspective?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Some senile old guy just falling down, stuttering constantly.
Better than having the first president in the history of the entire country that saluted another military, which was Donald Trump when he went to visit fucking North Korea and he fucking saluted their soldiers. Yeah, I think that people see, yes, he did do that. And yes, that was a fucking joke. And also, we got nothing from North Korea for those meetings. So yeah, I think people see Biden as a more serious president.
I guarantee
Yeah.
you, Stephen,
Uh-huh.
you take a blunders tape of Trump and a blunders tape of Joe Biden, who you think's going to win that?
A blunders tape?
Yeah. Of all the stupid shit you've ever done while you was president.
Said and did and fallen
Yeah.
and just.
Who you
Well, let's
think's
see.
going to
On
look
one
worse?
guy, I've got Biden that makes a lot of embarrassing gas and seems to forget what he's saying. On the other side, I've got Donald Trump who thinks that planes are actually invisible, like in Wonder Woman, that maybe injecting bleach might be a good way to cure ourselves of certain viruses. And who says that, if you're famous enough, women will just let you grab them by the pussy.
Don't you think that some of the things that Joe Biden has been, that Donald Trump has said has been kind of embellished and taken out of context? You can't say that for Joe Biden. He said some crazy stuff. You don't even have to embellish on
Donald Trump stuff is.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's
I mean,
position on a lot
I
of things
agree.
has been
He
pretty
said some
wacky.
crazy things on
His
Twitter.
policies were really bad too, though. Like,
Yeah.
why is it that if Donald Trump's such a good fucking leader, why couldn't he pass any major legislation? Like Biden couldn't, a more divided
He
Congress.
didn't have the votes in the Congress.
Well, isn't that his job as president?
Yeah, but this country's so divided. You're not going to.
Well, hold on.
And they never gave him a chance.
So
I don't
how
think.
is it that in a more divided Congress, Biden passed more
No,
bipartisan
it was
legislation?
more divided when Trump was in. As soon as he got elected, what did that chick up in what's her name? Aliba Kaliba? They said we're going to impeach his ass. He just got in office and they were
Yeah.
already going to
I
do
don't think they gave him as
Okay,
much
hold
of an
on. When
opportunity.
Obama was in office, McConnell was saying our goal is to make him a one-term president. We are going to reject every single possible bill that comes from the House as Obama's in president.
They said they were going to impeach him and they did it twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
He hadn't
Okay.
even did shit.
He did do shit. He did January
it-
6th, and he did the Zelensky call. He shouldn't have done
When
either
you
of those
think-
things.
When you think they said he was responsible for the majority of the COVID deaths in the United States, you think
I don't know
that's-
who said that. If somebody said that, I would disagree with it.
Yeah, they blamed him.
I don't know who
They
they
blame him
is.
for
I
the
don't know
COVID
if they,
deaths.
I don't know if I
The
think that's
media,
true. I
Joe
doubt that.
Biden.
If somebody said it, I would disagree with it, but I'd have to see the
Joe
quote.
Biden said if he'd have told people to wear masks, which he didn't deny, he never told people not to wear them.
Donald Trump denied that COVID was even in the U.S. until like a month in, until like we all saw him on Twitter every day saying like, there's only 6 cases here when there were probably tens of thousands.
Yeah, nobody accepted it though. Why should?
What do you mean? The whole world, the WHO, people had already called like a global fucking.
Well, he went to ban flights from China where it originated.
Yeah, after the WHO,
Right,
like
he-
right as
he-
they said.
Why did Democrats knock him for that? When he
Yeah, they
called
said
him
it was xenophobic. and
They
stuff.
didn't knock him for
Pelosi
banning flights.
said-
They knocked him for things like like the people in the White
Yeah.
House calling it the Kung flu, and for the weird
Right.
rhetoric
But
on like
Pelosi
Chinese
Pelosi is
people.
the China virus.
Yeah, but Pelosi said, go down to Chinatown and give people hugs.
Mhm.
They've said some very reckless things. Why should it all fall? Why that burden should just fall on one man, the president? I mean, the virus.
It doesn't have to fall on one man, but
Yeah.
Donald Trump was the president of the United States, and he was lying to us about how prevalent the virus was in the United States because he wanted to look good politically. That's wild. That should make everybody upset.
So
That's an opinion.
Well, no, it's not an opinion. He's
I think
on
he- I
stage
think
saying
every-
there are 6 cases here. It's not a big problem.
Yeah,
when we
I mean-
knew there were tens of thousands of cases here.
No, I think he reported as they came in. That's
There's
why they
literally
started-
who was the
they
guy?
started having a press conference and
Was it
Fauci
Woodward
there
who
and-
made who wrote the book that literally was talking about like Donald Trump in the White House saying like fuck like I can't like we can't talk about how many cases there are, it's going to cause a panic, or like people are going to look poorly upon us, and like Donald Trump knew, everybody knew there were more cases here. Everybody knew.
think
there were more
Democrats knew?
cases. Yeah, everybody knew.
Why
When
didn't,
they're-
why didn't he say anything?
I think everybody was. People were upset that Donald Trump was downplaying him, and there were thousands of people that were getting sick in New York City and shit.
Mhm.
And yeah, Donald was like,
But
nah, I think
didn't
it's
Trump
like,
get a boat there? A medical boat?
he might have eventually. But
And
like,
he came with the vaccine.
I mean, it's like
Yeah.
you can, he can do no right. It's like I bring up the shit you said about New York. Everybody said he got a boat there. Oh, he got it there eventually. I mean, these things take time.
Yeah. Do you
it's
think
like
he's being
you
more
can't- if you
pessimistic when it
fuck
comes?
up, if you fuck up over and over again and you just try to make right after you've gotten called out on it over and over again,
Mhm.
like imagine are you both married?
Yeah.
Imagine, you forget your wife's birthday
Mhm.
and then you bring her a cake the next day and she's like, what the fuck? And you're like, I got it eventually, didn't I? Like,
Man, this is bullshit.
that shit doesn't work. That doesn't fly. The
bullshit,
next fucking day.
Steve.
Did he get a boat there eventually after spending a month on Twitter saying it wasn't real?
It took him 2
Yes.
days to get a boat there.
After once the
I
United
mean,
States
he's not on the boat.
once the
fucking
U.S.
driving the
decides we
bitch.
want to do something, we do it really well. But
Yeah.
when we're in denial, we can't get anything fucking done. And
I
Donald
think-
Trump spent a lot of time keeping us in denial about the disease here.
I think you embody what, and I think all of us embody
Mhm.
what's really wrong with this country.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Finally, we agree on something. We're not willing to work together and hold people accountable.
I will
These
work
people,
there.
that's why these people can do whatever the fuck they want.
Joe Biden is literally passing legislation in Congress, working together with Democrats and Republicans to do it.
Man,
It has
he-
That doesn't count?
Joe
What
Biden has
legislation?
had no effect on my life. Absolutely none.
That's because we're rich. Who the fuck cares who's in office?
Yeah.
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
talking about the
I'm talking about the everyday man. He's
Yeah.
done nothing to help the everyday.
You don't think
American.
the fucking you don't think all the COVID stimulus and the everything you don't think-
$1,200 check?
and the unemployment insurance where there were people making more money not working than when they were working?
They had to do it because they said we couldn't
But
work.
hold on, you just went from saying he didn't do shit to they had to do this. So
Well,
then
he-
he did do. They didn't
well-
have to do anything.
But he told people they couldn't work, which was
So
unconstitutional
you have
on both
to do
sides.
that.
Yeah.
You have to do that. If they
Yeah.
can't work, how are they going to survive? So the government has to do that.
I'm not going to
Sure, but I mean, like the
congratulate
flip
him.
side is you've got people like China who, by the way,
Yeah.
rejected our mRNA vaccines. They don't like them, and they had to lock their economy down over and over and over and over again because so many fucking people were getting sick.
If China don't like the vaccines, I'm very leery of that damn vaccine.
Yeah,
now.
but then look at their society and how they had to play it out afterwards because their vaccines sucked so much cock. They had to keep locking their shit down.
All
China,
these vaccines
you wanna
sucked.
make fun of, or you wanna say China didn't trust it or whatever. They literally have videos of them like fucking sealing people into their fucking
Yeah, yeah, I
apartments,
saw
not
that.
letting
Yeah,
them
yeah,
out.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you know what? If it wasn't for Republicans, we'd still be locked down.
Yeah,
That's true.
You know?
I don't think.
One
so.
of the first states to open up was
I mean,
Texas,
that's
Florida.
we embellishing, but
Yeah.
the lockdowns would have went a lot longer if it wasn't for batshit crazy Republicans wanting to go out
Yeah.
and just live their lives.
Do you actually think the masks actually work?
They did. Like,
Dude, that thing's like a busted condom.
you know what? I bet with a busted condom, you got less of a chance of getting a bitch pregnant than if you
Man,
just
you
full
can
on
get
nut her. I
AIDS
bet you
every
do.
time with a
Listen,
busted condom.
if you
Hey.
pull out with a busted condom and half your load still in there,
AIDS.
that's half your swimmers. Okay, that's half
AIDS.
your swimmers that didn't make it inside that woman. Okay.
But that's a
Hey.
lot of virus. That is a lot of virus she left in there.
Yeah,
That's a
lot
whole
of it
lot
didn't.
of.
I mean, like during the lockdowns and the masking, it wasn't
Yeah.
interfering with COVID, but there were like whole strains of the flu that died. Like, look at the influenza
Yeah,
deaths.
COVID killed the flu.
Look at no, it was the fucking distancing and the lockdowns and shit. It wasn't enough to stop COVID, but you had a lot less like
social
influenza transmission.
distances actually help prevent you. So the virus can only travel 6 feet at a time?
It can only how far can you fucking sneeze?
But that
Well,
shit-
you know how virus
You think
how
it's an
get
infinite-
sick, right? There's a virus that'll pick it up. Oh, shit. That's how you get it. Like walking 6 feet and stopping and staying 6 feet from him doesn't prevent you from getting a virus. It's like pseudoscience. It's bullshit.
It's pseudoscience. If I
Yeah.
stand right next to you and I fucking let off the loudest fucking fart,
Yeah.
rip the fattest ass, you don't
Yeah.
think you can smell that more if you're 6 feet away from
Yeah,
me?
I'm going to
than if
smell
you're-
it, but I'm not going to get sick.
Hold on. If you're smelling it, then there's some shit that's obviously there for you to
Exactly.
smell. Can you smell a guy if he rips ass? No, answer me this fucking
Right,
question.
right.
If there's a guy and he rips ass 6 feet from you outside, can you
right.
smell that ass rip?
Yep. So I agree with you. I agree
can
with
smell
you.
it 10 feet away.
I agree with you.
Should it be 10 feet?
I agree with you.
I'm
So
just
if
trying
I-
to figure out if somebody
say
ripping
this.
ass next to you is
Yeah.
more potent than
Right.
somebody sneezing a fucking virus
Right.
on you. I don't
Right.
understand that. If you stand the fuck away from somebody, they sneeze,
Right.
probably less likely to
I
get shit
agree
on you.
with you.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Gotcha.
I agree with you.
All
So
right.
if I'm wearing that same mask, is it going to prevent me from contracting the virus if I can smell a dude's fart?
You could probably not if he's 6 feet away from you. Not if he's 6 feet away from you.
Dude, that mask was.
Why don't you think they since people are wearing masks, why don't you think they told people to cover their eyes too? Because you can get a virus through your eyes just like up through
It was
your
about
nose.
transmitting. It wasn't about receiving. I think it was the bigger thing, right?
Yeah.
You don't
Receiving?
breathe out your eyes.
No, the
right?
virus. When you could get sick by
No, you
through-
can, but like the point of the
Yeah.
mask was ideally like if you were sick, you'd be breathing out less of the virus to everybody.
Yeah,
with
and
the
you
mask
keep
on.
you from like supposedly breathing in the virus.
Well, I mean, you're
too.
probably get somebody. I mean, like that might help a little bit, but like for your eyes, it's not like you're not transmitting the virus from your eyeballs. So
no,
like,
but
you're
you
not
can
gonna-
get the virus through your
You
eyeballs.
could, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to put on a whole, there were people that walked around with the full Among Us suits
Yeah.
on with the
Yeah,
full,
but
if you wanted to. But
I'm just trying to expose the hypocrisy. Like you got people wearing a mask, but if you really want to protect people, wouldn't you tell them to cover their eyes?
it's not hypocrisy. It's you're trying to think of a thing that's effective, but also has a reasonable level of uptake. So let's say we would have said, well, you know what would have really prevented the virus is if we did 50 feet social distancing. Well, but nobody's going to, you can't all stand 50 feet away from each other. And if you start mandating and saying, like, we got to wear a mask, people probably aren't going to fuck
But
with it.
even having said that, once you get, if you're standing 50 feet from people, which is ridiculous, right? Eventually, you're going to be standing in the exact same spot as the person who had the virus.
Yeah, sure, but if they breathe and it's falling to the ground,
This
it's not like
this
floating
whole
around.
conversation is bullshit. I just want to say this.
All right.
I mean, if they were really sincere about the fucking mask,
Yeah.
Why the fuck
If
do
they-
doctors wear masks in operating rooms?
like they would have told
Prevent
you.
from them coughing or spreading disease because the damn person's wide open. They're
Yeah.
doing surgery. That's why.
Okay, but like, aren't they laying where some other guy was breathing before?
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think those masks was never intended to prevent you.
All
from
I'm
getting
saying
sick.
is that if you rip ass in a fucking operating room,
Yeah.
I bet that dude's
If
heart's
you
gonna
can
smell
smell
like
a
shit.
fart, if you can smell a dude's butthole through a mask,
It's not helping you.
it's not gonna prevent you from getting the
It's
virus.
getting in
That's all
there.
I'm saying. Yeah.
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 And your
Yes.
eyes, you can get. That's how you get infected. You can
Yeah.
if somebody fuck it.
Yeah, nothing's gonna prevent you from rubbing your eyes on some shit.
Yeah,
again.
I mean
that's
the
true.
the
yeah.
virus. Somebody sneezes and the mask catches it.
Huh?
It doesn't get through. Oh, it's in my eyes. You're gonna get sick.
I think that
Why didn't
mask,
they push goggles? But
Hey, Keith, let me talk. The mask, I think it was a carrier for the virus.
Okay.
Because you going home, and let's say it catches the virus. You walk home, take the shit home to your family. You an outbreak monkey. I just think the mask was ridiculous. I think the shutdowns was ridiculous. I think telling private business they couldn't work.
Is there
Just think it's
anything
all
you can
ridiculous.
do to reduce the likelihood of getting a disease?
No, you can't hide from a virus.
There's
screwed.
nothing you can do.
so let me ask you this
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
Let's say okay, the mortality rate on this virus was like less than tenths of a percent, right?
It was low, yeah.
Yeah, it's real low. Let's say this mortality rate of COVID was 88%. And it's like, all right, everybody put your mask on and go outside. Are you going outside with just that mask on? The mortality rate
I'm not
is
leaving my
88%.
fucking house.
At 88%, probably not.
Yeah, I'm not
But
leaving.
but at 88%, I'm probably wearing a whole bunch of shit. I'm not saying like, well, there's nothing I can do to prevent myself from getting it anyway, right?
Yeah. Would you be comfortable with that mask?
With
That's
just the mask, no.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
but
I
the
think
mask,
it-
the goal isn't to prevent 100% of all possible fucking.
You're gonna fucking die. If that mortality rate is 88%, you're gonna die. That mask is not gonna save you.
Yeah, but you already have people that don't want to wear a mask at all, and now you're saying we should have had them wearing goggles and every fucking other
No,
thing.
I'm not
too?
saying that
Like,
at all.
I'm just saying it
Yeah.
just it exposes the hypocrisy.
It's not the
it wasn't-
hypocrisy, it's
it
like-
wasn't
it's-
about keeping you from getting sick. It was about control.
No, it was about taking reasonable steps to how, like, what is the uptake on a particular thing that people are willing to do? Nobody's walking around with fucking goggles outside. People already didn't like the mask.
Just walk around with the mask.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's a lot. For half the people don't even wear the fucking
I
mask. How many people
guarantee
you see
you-
walking around with a mask like this everywhere?
Steven, I guarantee you,
Mhm.
if they came out and said, wear the goggles, Democrats have been walking around looking like freaking they were going swimming. I guarantee you. Everybody, all the Democrats have been wearing goggles.
Yeah.
I seen Democrats wearing 3 masks. You're not telling
I
me
see
if
people-
It's
they
possible.
came
I
out-
mean, when people say dumb shit, people do dumb shit. You had people
Yeah.
dying from eating fucking horse face because people thought ivermectin was going to save them from fucking COVID, and you had conservatives dying of COVID more than fucking Democrats because they don't want to get fucking vaccinated. So you know what?
I don't think it's true.
Maybe
Where did you get
Democrats
that?
would have walked around
I
with
don't think
goggles.
that's true.
What you don't think? What's true?
I don't think more Republicans is dying.
Okay,
over-
well look
If
it
they-
up.
if
It is
they-
true. That's
if
like
they-
an undisputed fact at this point. Nobody argues this, but
well, Republicans are older.
Yeah.
That sounds like a
That's
really
a
good.
fact.
Even if you control for age, there were more of
Yeah.
them because they looked at age, they looked at obesity. But listen, even
Yeah,
if they're
just
older,
because-
that's an even better reason to get
Yeah.
vaccinated.
Just
then.
because you have a correlate doesn't mean that's the causation.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
you got to take into consideration
Democrat,
how
I mean,
age.
Republicans are.
Oh,
Yeah,
now
how
we're
healthy.
now our science caps are on.
I'm
Oh, okay. Hold on.
just
Now
saying.
we've got the well. If you look at the prospective randomized controlled trial research with a double-blind configuration, but before it was if I could smell a fart through my mask,
Yeah, that
it's
mask
not
is-
doing shit for me. Okay, I see
I'm
how
just
it is.
saying, a dude down at 86,
Uh-huh.
Republican, and a person down at the age of 20s.
Yeah,
You comparing
Democrat
apples to
voters are
oranges.
typically younger.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's true, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, like college age kids.
Yeah.
those motherfuckers don't vote.
Yeah,
They don't vote at
they
all.
fucking protest though.
Yeah, they do. And you can look up their voting records and say where
Yeah.
they get arrested. 90% of the motherfuckers that get arrested aren't registered to vote. So
Hey, let me say this: what do you think happens if Trump wins the election?
I have no fucking idea. Nobody knows. Everybody is praying, like all the institutionalist cucks like me are all just praying that he doesn't win. Because
Yeah.
the weird thing is that if he does win, regardless of how you feel about him policy or not,
Mhm.
nobody knows what it looks like when a president is being charged by crimes by the federal government and by
Mhm.
states. Nobody has any idea what that
Mhm.
looks like.
Right.
So,
And it
He just
grains.
pardoned himself.
well, but he can't pardon himself for the state charges. So that's the weird part.
That's weird.
Because
Yeah.
so then what is Georgia and New York? Are they going to send their police up to D.C. to fight the
They
National
can't
Guard?
pardon people state charges.
When governors can pardon from state charges, and for the federal government, the president, because it's the president, the executive branch is the president at the top,
Right.
and then you got the Department of Justice here, and then
Mhm.
they do like all the prosecutorial stuff. So if they're prosecuting, it's technically under the president. The president can say, "Hey, stop doing that," and then they have to stop. But states are totally separate from the federal government. It's its own fuck. That's why
So-
some states say like, "Oh, you want to smoke marijuana here? Go for it." And an FBI agent could come in a state where it's legal to smoke marijuana and arrest you for it.
That says a strong that those state crimes being brought towards them. It should be federal.
It's
It should be handled federally.
For that reason you just said.
jurisdiction is a complicated.
Yeah.
Like people don't realize this, but the vast majority of crimes in the United States are state crimes. Like
Right.
when you murder somebody, that's not a federal charge. That's
Yeah.
going to be a state that's prosecuting you for
Mhm.
murder or rape or any of these other things.
Hey, let me ask you this: what's your take on January 6th? Was that a riot or was it
Insurrection.
insurrection?
Call that an insurrection.
Dude. Let me say this. Okay, Republicans are gun nuts. I
Yeah.
think there was about 3,000 Republicans there. That's
Uh-huh.
about 15,000 guns if they ever took them there.
Yeah.
I think if it was
There was never intent.
if that was an intent for an insurrection, these gun nuts, which Republicans are,
Yeah.
they would have shut that place up.
Yeah, it would be
Amazing.
bodies. People would be dead.
They
That's why
might
I
have been
said
able to
it's
go harder, but their goal was to disrupt the electoral vote count, and they broke into Congress. They managed to do just
think
that,
that-
and then
yeah.
eventually they left. when
I think it
Donald
was
Trump
there to
finally told them-
protest.
You can
Yeah.
call it a protest,
Yeah.
but what do you call a protest when you break into a place? It's a
That's
riot
what-
now.
Some
But-
people
And
were
what do
let
you
in.
do?
Yeah.
Well, they might have been after, but they'd already broken first, so it doesn't matter.
I've
So
seen
if some-
police officers actually escorting a guy in. They called him, well, I forget his name, but they actually escorted him into one of the offices. He said a
Sure.
prayer, and they arrested him, and they gave him, I
5
forget how
years.
many years.
I've seen a guy crush a glass jar with his rectum and bleed all over the fucking internet. Who cares?
That's an insurrectionist right there.
That's I don't know what the fuck that has to do with
That
anything. The
fucker needs
reality
to be
is
locked
the
up.
first people into the Capitol building, I think I said the White House. The first people into the Capitol building, they broke in.
I don't think you can call it an insurrection.
Okay, well,
You know why?
why?
No one's been charged with it.
Well, that doesn't. I don't think anybody's ever been
I-
charged with insurrection.
I think.
So what do you call it? That?
I think-
Nobody's also been charged with genocide, or nobody's been convicted of genocide. But
Well,
They
we
don't
talk
like-
about insurrection here. Let's stop conflating shit.
sure, nobody's. But yeah, we don't have
Dude,
we don't
I
really
think-
have like an insurrection charge.
I think that
kinda,
was
but-
just political hyperbole from the
Okay.
left, from
Okay.
Democrats. To call that an insurrection is just.
Do you think that people protested on January 6th?
I think that was the intent to
Okay.
protest,
Do you
not
think that
to take
people
over the
did
government.
people break into the Capitol House?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
some people
yeah,
who did
yeah,
that.
there's
Okay.
people-
Did they delay the certification of the election?
They did.
Okay.
Did they?
I think a lot of people did to
Yep,
seek
they
cover.
did.
Yeah,
Yep. So
seek cover.
and why did they go down to the Capitol building?
protest
Protest what?
the election.
So they went to the
No,
Capitol building to
they-
protest the election. They
Mhm.
broke into the Capitol building and they delayed the certification of the election.
Well,
what are we missing for it to be an
Let's-
insurrection?
let's
Like what are we
dig in
missing
a
at
deep
that point?
context. They was
guns-
protesting the election because they think the election was unfair.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they wanted to overturn the election
They,
because they didn't believe in it. So people go to the Capitol building
Mhm.
because they don't believe in the election.
Mhm.
They break in. They delay the certification of the vote.
Mhm.
What else do we need for it to be an insurrection at that point?
You
That's
could,
not an insurrection.
insurrection is taking over the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they for 8 hours or whatever, or how many hours
They
they.
the books are old.
Doesn't matter
dudes.
who they are. It doesn't.
I mean,
there's no rule that says
there-
old people can't do an
I know,
insurrection.
What I'm saying is they don't have no guns. You're not taking over the most powerful government in the world with no guns.
There will be a plot.
It could be a failed insurrection.
It's just a bunch of angry people that lost their freaking cool, and it was a riot.
There will be more of a plot. There will be a plan. It was just a bunch
Well,
of
the
people.
plot or plan was on Donald Trump's side, is where he was trying to call people and get them to not vote. And then the whole thing he was trying to do with Pence to get him to overturn it in Congress and say, well, no, we're not going to count the votes and we're just going to make me president again. That would have been like the plotted side of the insurrection.
Well,
part,
what he
but
wanted Pence to do, it's somewhere in the Constitution. I don't.
It's not.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the
Promise it's
Constitution.
not.
They
It's
can
absolutely
they
not.
can investigate. That's what I heard. I don't know,
I know,
if it's
yeah,
true
sure.
or not. But I'm just sharing what other people on the right were saying, that he could actually stop it, and then they could investigate the
Voter fraud.
Yeah.
That they hadn't found and had lost
Yeah.
in every single court case.
Yeah.
That Donald Trump's own attorney general and campaign staff and White House staff were telling him wasn't real. That kind of sounds like an insurrection.
Nobody's been charged with an insurrection, though.
That's not insurrection.
Yeah. A bunch of angry
I would
people
say
got
it was
pissed
a
off.
riot at the Capitol.
Yeah.
A riot at
And
the
it-
Capitol
and
for
it-
the purposes of undoing the
And
last
it
vote.
could have been prevented if Pelosi would have took the troops, the National Guard that was promised her, and she said, "No, we don't need that."
Well, it could have also been prevented if Donald Trump wouldn't have given a speech 1 mile away
He said
telling
be
everybody that we need to
peaceful.
fight. He said,
said-
fight like hell.
He said,
He said
be
fight like
peaceful.
hell. He said,
He
they're
said-
stealing your government from you. They're stealing your country from you. You
He
think all the
said
people...
be
Wait,
peaceful.
so all the people that marched, all of them just misunderstood?
No, I'm just telling you what Trump said. He said, "Go and be peaceful."
Why would you... What, but they were going to protest the results of the election.
He said, "Be peaceful."
Okay.
He didn't say, "Go down, turn that bitch down. We're taking the country back." He, never
said,
did. Anything.
fight like hell. You're going to lose your country.
Yeah, but that's he is figuratively. He did.
The people that broke into the Capitol building didn't take it figuratively.
Maxine Waters said the same thing about Republicans. If you see them in a restaurant, push back on them. Tell them they're unwanted. Is she encouraging an insurrection?
Nothing about that is insurrection. Maybe encouraging harassment or assault,
Yeah,
maybe.
she encouraged people to harass Republicans.
But I think that was in response to people telling you don't agree with their views or whatever. I don't think that had to do with like attacking people. Was she telling people to attack people?
Yeah. So Trump, what he said was wrong. Maxine Waters,
totally fine.
It's totally fine.
I would have to hear that Maxine Waters quote. You should never be telling
You
people to
can pull it
harass
up.
people out like in fucking anywhere.
They
but-
can look it up. She said it, but
Okay.
Man, can we still on Trump? He never said go down there and burn the place down.
He said fight like hell, didn't he?
yeah, but
He did say fight like hell, right?
Did he say that?
I don't know.
I mean, you
It was
said
a whole
those words,
hour-long
but
piece. He said
in
fight
the-
like hell.
But in the context of his conversation,
Yeah.
people were not under the impression to go there and tear the place down.
But that's exactly what they did.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome. The people are going to turn on them. They're going to protest. They're going to absolutely harass them until they decide that they're going to tell the president, no, I can't hang with you.
Not in D.C. Not in the U.S. Not in D.C. Not in the U.S. Not in D.C. Not in the U.S.
There's my guy.
I don't. I think it's bad. I don't like it. But nothing that
Yeah.
she said. Nothing about that is illegal. You can protest
So
people
what
outside.
Trump
Like
said
that's
that was illegal, and what she said was not illegal.
what I don't know if what Trump said was illegal.
You
He's-
said it was an insurrection. That was insurrection.
I said it was an.
He said
hold
fight
on,
like hell.
Hold on. Let's be very clear. Let's understand what I said. Okay.
Okay,
I said that
okay.
Trump told those people to fight like hell, and what happened was an insurrection. Did Trump engage in like incitement to violence that would pass like the Brandenburg v. Ohio standard or whatever? Like, I'm not entirely sure. He's not being charged with incitement, though, thankfully, so we don't even have to ask that question.
Being charged
Whether or
with-
not what happened was an insurrection is a separate question from whether or not did Donald Trump like engage in illegally insightful behavior. But I do think that Donald Trump gave a message that you need to go down and you need to protest the election.
Yeah.
And I think that his followers heard it loud and clear, and they all marched down there. And what resulted from that was an insurrection. Maybe Donald Trump didn't necessarily tell them to engage in it. Maybe people didn't go necessarily thinking about that.
Right.
But all the elements were there, and then once it was there, that's what it developed into. So
Yeah, but you said he didn't encourage that. But it seems
I
like
think he
Mac-
encouraged it, but you got, we
Mhm.
got to be really careful. There's different questions when you say like,
Yeah.
like if I stand up and I say like, there's a couple of boys down at the end of the street, we know these people hate America and blah blah blah, and everybody marches over and eventually they get into a fight with them and they kill them.
Right.
I caused that to happen.
Mhm.
But if you're going to ask me in a legal sense, I don't think that speech would qualify as like an incitement because
There
there's
you
like
go.
an imminent
you
loss.
you coming around, man.
Well, but I'm just saying those are two. The legal question is fundamentally separate from like a more layman's or more like I think Donald Trump is absolutely responsible for the insurrection
So you
that
totally
happened
screwing
at
up
the
again.
Capitol building. But I don't know. Like I don't think I would legally say he engaged in insightful like speech
Yeah,
because
he's
that's a really
innocent.
scary thing.
He's innocent.
He didn't, and, and that
Of that
wasn't
charge.
an insurrection.
Yeah.
There's
Of
some
that
people.
particular charge.
I don't think it was some people got out of hand and they should be held
There was some
accountable.
bad
people.
apples. Yeah.
But,
Lots of them.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
a lot
it was
of
a lot
them.
of
It
them,
was some crazy shit. I'm not saying it wasn't crazy. That shit looked crazy.
It
If
did.
I
It
was
was
there,
crazy.
I'd been like, "You white people are crazy. I'm leaving. I'm not going to jail." No,
Right.
I'm not denying that. But to call it an insurrection, like they were really going to take over
You
the
embellish.
United States government, I don't think.
I think
Not every
what-
insurrection has to be successful.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's not successful, I mean, these are gun nuts. If they were going to go take over our government,
Yeah.
there was like what?
It'd have been a
3,000
lot of
people
I think they
did.
were waiting for Donald Trump to do something. They were waiting for
Do
him to
what?
show up.
Do what?
Who the fuck knows? He wanted to go down there initially, and it was the Secret Service told him, "Fuck no, you're not going down there." He wanted to go down in a motorcade to be.
Why
with
did
his
he want to
fucking
go
people.
down there?
Probably to fucking cheer them on. He thought it was fucking Aragorn or some shit. He was gonna march in with his army of the undead.
Don't you
okay,
think
his
it's a
fat fucking
possibility
conservative people
he
that were
wanted to
dying of
remain-
fucking methamphetamine overdoses on the fucking lawn.
Do you think it's a possibility he wanted to remain peaceful?
No, fuck no. Absolutely fucking not. And you know that because when fucking it wasn't McConnell, it was McCarthy. When he fucking called Trump, that was one of the recorded phone calls. And he was like, yo, you need to call these motherfuckers off. They're killing us. And Donald Trump was like, looks like they're a lot more upset about the election being stolen than you were, motherfucker. And he fucking, that was the conversation. That doesn't seem like a guy who wanted them to be peaceful.
But do Democrats call people when their constituents get out of hand?
Do
Like Maxine
Democrats-
Waters.
Sure.
You sat there and saw it. Did anybody call and tell her to apologize? Or?
I don't know if anybody got attacked or assaulted as a result of
Well,
what she said.
you
I'm
saw
not
a
sure.
restaurant. There was Republicans at restaurants.
You're
After she
allowed
made
to do
speech.
that. You're allowed to protest outside restaurants. I don't like her calling for like protesting
Yeah.
individuals like that, but you're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
It's your constitution protected
Like
speech. There's nothing illegal.
if Trump did what Maxine Waters did at the Capitol, that's an insurrection. He incited that shit.
Well,
Yeah.
if somebody marches on government property and they try to disrupt the lawful order of
Yeah.
government, then I would say it probably is.
I think it's a significant difference. He says fight like hell, but maybe he's wrong words.
Okay,
wrong
that is
words he
exactly
should've
what
used.
his people did.
Right.
But what do you think? If you tell people your election is being stolen, your country's being stolen from you, what do you think they're going to do? Go
Okay.
protest peacefully like a cuck? You're going to say like,
Yeah.
"Oh, they're stealing our election," but I'm holding the
He-
sign.
he
You're like,
did
"Of course
say
you want to
be
go
peaceful.
fight, like right?"
Yeah.
He said, "Be peaceful." Though.
And he said, "Fight like hell."
Yeah.
At the end of his speech, he said, "Go." He told everybody, "Be peaceful." He
After
did
told
say
them to
that.
fight like hell, and they're
Yeah.
stealing your country from you.
But I think you could take what Maxine said and say, hey, she's actually condoning violence. I mean, like you being a liberal, I being conservative. For me to see you in a restaurant and harass you while you with your spouse or your girlfriend, that's just wrong.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
well, I don't think it's good.
Yeah.
But is it wrong? I mean, we have the right to do that. That
I
is our
think-
First Amendment right in the United States. The restaurant could kick you out. They say you're not welcome here
I
to do
think
that. But
we should have a moral compass when it comes to when to protest and when not to protest. When I'm inside of a restaurant with my wife, I don't want to be harassed because
Sure.
of my
I don't necessarily
religion.
disagree. That's why I said I don't like
yeah.
her statements. I think it's a little bit too. You're
Yeah,
like
I-
making people too crazy.
Yeah,
when
I think
say
you
something
open up
like
a can of worms because I don't want you protesting like that. I shouldn't be protesting. No human being should be protested for their opinions. That's the position I stand.
that.
You know what's crazy? It was crazy. Like, you have a bias. I have a bias. We have a bias. You have a bias as a Democrat. We have a bias as Republicans. And that's why we have this disconnect. We see things differently.
Yeah.
Just like George Floyd, like what happened. People see it differently because of race, politics, or whatever. It's because of our biases. But it's like the shit that's come out of your mouth is bullshit.
True.
I just feel like it's bullshit. It's
Yeah.
like
I think you're just rooting for your guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like if there was a real insurrection at the, I was
there
like,
was
man,
guns
that was
there.
wrong.
There
Yeah.
was guns there.
Yeah.
I would call it all day. That was an insurrection. That was
And there was some
crazy.
bad apples, and that was totally wrong.
Here's listen, here's the reality. If you want to judge it, okay? If you want to know like what's the bullshit or what's not, okay? The reality is like do you guys have any idea what qualifies as an insurrection in the United States? Do you know the historical standards for insurrections? Do you know the debates around what would have been considered an insurrection or the historical arguments related to the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment relating to insurrection?
What's the
or
requirements?
These are all things that have been like hotly contested in our nation's history. Paulson and Baud wrote a huge, or not a huge, it was like a 100-page paper over like what they considered like insurrectionist behavior or whatever. And you can go through and you can analyze the standards that people that are trying to, it's been a while since I've read this paper at this point, but like if you've got people that are engaged in violent action and their goal is to circumvent some like necessary, obvious part that is like foundational to the government or whatever, it's probably an insurrection. You would say this every time. So if you've got people outside protesting like a traffic cop, probably not an insurrection, even if they're being violent, because it's traffic. It's not like some fun. But if there are people at like City Hall trying to prevent somebody from being elected, or trying to prevent like Congress from ever like voting on legislation or something like that, that seems like that would probably qualify as an insurrection. So like I can back all of these up with like factual historical arguments. I'm not just going on my feelings here.
So
like, I've done a great deal.
All that, but having said all that, even with that said, why hasn't anybody been charged within?
Because insurrection is not a criminal charge in the United States. There is one criminal charge, one criminal statute for having engaged in insurrection, but nobody's even used that charge, so we don't really know like what it would even look like in application.
People's been charged in the past for that, right?
I don't believe so.
The Confederacy, they came up. I forget the amendment. They was charged with an insurrection trying to overturn our government, and they was banned.
When people came in because it was so messy, like, and during Reconstruction, a lot of these people were forgiven. Like there were huge blanket things like, listen, if you guys did some shit, like fuck it before the state or whatever, like we're just gonna whatever because we don't want to deal with it. So these are like really challenging questions that haven't been dealt with directly before. When people say like, isn't it weird that Donald Trump's being treated this way, and isn't this kind of crazy? Blah blah. It is crazy, but we've never had a president engage in that behavior before to try to steal an election, which is what he tried to do, like 3 different ways.
Questioning the results of elections, not stealing though.
That's not what he's getting charged for crimes for.
Well, he's got to get. We're assuming that he's guilty. He's not. Wait to the.
Well, I'm just saying in terms of what's being laid out in the indictments. Donald Trump tried to get 7 different sets of people in 7 different states to lie and say that they had the certified electoral vote.
I don't think he ever did that. But
he did.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's not even denied at this point.
Yeah, we'll see in the crowd.
Okay.
Let's just wait till the crowd.
If he did do that, be right. If he did do that, do you agree that that's probably bad? Probably.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let's see if he gets locked up. You goes, yep. You see what's going on? Hey, your boy was the insurrection.
I hope that he goes to prison before the nuclear weapons come fucking flying over again.
I mean, if that's what he did, yeah. Fucking crazy.
I'm going to be at the fucking gender clinic with my 15-year-old son/daughter looking at the fucking TV, who's at the CNN and the Fox News to see who's calling who first. Yeah.
What? Oh, fuck.
Well,
it's a bunch of bullshit.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a Trump guy. So
I don't know if my bias is dictating how I think, but I think majority of the things that's been brought against him, I think is exaggerations and embellishments, and most of it's hyperbole. And I think it's all for political gain. I think he's his biggest rival, and they're trying to eliminate that.
I'm not trying to push too hard, but like, have you you seem to have a pretty strong opinion on this, right?
Yeah.
Have you read any of the actual indictments?
The corruption case about.
Actually, I have not read anything, but when you have Russia collusion, that was proven to be bullshit.
Yeah, but you don't know what even came out of the Mueller
indictment. You impeach him for
indictment.
shit and says quid pro quo, and you impeach him for bullshit that he never did.
Right.
I don't believe in it.
Okay, well, so you think the
trial,
Russia collusion was bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Do you agree that the Hillary Benghazi stuff was bullshit?
No
one got charged for that.
I've actually, people that came on kind of shows and they strongly dislike her, but said that she actually got their loved
people
ones
friends
murdered.
killed. Yeah.
So even though the system acquitted her of that, but you don't trust the system there, but you do trust the system when they said no Russia collusion.
Well, our system's corrupt as hell.
But if the system is corrupt as hell, then wouldn't it make more sense that Donald Trump did collude with Russia, but he was able to cover it up because he was the president of the United States?
That whole Russia misinformation, him colluding with Russia, that's just a farce.
I'm trying to figure out, because it feels like you pick and choose what you want to believe based on.
No, it's not that I pick and choose.
We are both for doing that.
Well, but I'll consistently believe or disbelieve based on.
I'm gonna wait to see how the court cases go. When this nigga get acquitted, I'm telling you.
So you think that the Hillary email stuff was fine because she didn't get charged with any crimes, right?
I think it's just a double standard.
Okay.
I look at it from like this point of view. Both sides lie. And I think a majority of the times when they're lying, it's all for self-political interest. And nobody, because you might have a bias and I might have a bias, we're not able to see through the bullshit. I think there's some bullshit on Biden's side, and I think there's some bullshit on Trump's side. But I think a majority of it is coming from the left.
Okay.
I'm not saying Trump is the nicest guy. That's not why I support him.
He's not perfect.
I think
nobody's perfect.
I like him because he's brutally honest. He's not a puppet. He's not a politician. When he says something, I actually genuinely think he's being sincere, because no normal human being would say half the shit he said.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. We'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call you up. You're gonna get acquitted and shit. I'm definitely calling you election night. I'm gonna be watching that shit on CNN. I said CNN just called it.
You know what?
You better make sure you do it before all the or after all the fucking mail-in votes come in, though.
You know what? Hey, you know what? During the election,
You don't want me calling you back at fucking 4:30 a.m. Wake up, motherfucker. Sorry.
Hey, during the election, why don't you come back and we live stream it?
Maybe. We'll see. That'll be a crazy night, yeah.
No, man, I pay for your ticket, man. Put you up in a nice hotel. I take good care of it. I even get you a couple of men for you.
As long as they're the one that wear dresses, okay?
Right?
Yeah, that's the best kind, right?
Yeah.
They look like women.
Hey, man, thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me
Thanks
on.
for coming on the show, man.
Hey, where can people find you?
Destiny on Instagram, Kick, YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. Destiny. Just type in
Just
Destiny.
Destiny.
Type in Destiny.
Just Destiny, yeah.
How'd you come with the name Destiny?
Just a combination. I think when I was like 12, my name was like Neo Destiny when I played video games online.
Okay.
And then my start on streaming as a pro gamer, so I kept Destiny.
It's not because you're gay?
Nope. Or not because I'm a black woman. Nope. It's not because I'm a stripper. Nope. Nope.
It's a black woman's name.
Destiny. Hi, I'm Destiny.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Nice to meet you.
man.
Great
Thanks
day.
a lot, yeah.